Oh, that is enough energy for this morning. What's up? it's 10. It's 10:20. I'm ready for this one, but I haven't streamed in a couple days. So, I've been just kind of chilling and getting stuff done rather than streaming and getting stuff done. But we are back. We're going to do this one live. We're doing the whole thing. So this is an Impala. We're going to do the windshield in 35, the front doors in 20, and the rear doors in 5. How's it going there? Rear doors in back. Oh, do I have to change that? Hang on, we'll find out real quick. Oh, yeah, we got to change that. You need my headphones. Supreme! Jay, how you guys doing? I got a 4Runner. Any tips? That is the one with the roll down back window. Oh yeah, that was a rental in Texas. The back window is going to be the most annoying part. I still two-stage the back window. It's kind of awkward though, because there's a lot of like running back and forth. Then you literally have to close the gate, or you have to have the hatch closed, half peel it, bring it in, and two-stage it. Unless you want to remove the whole rear panel, and then you can bottom load it, I think. But yeah, they're not super fun back windows to do. I may even have one live. I'm glad I don't get a ton of Toyotas, I'll be honest. I just did a Corolla yesterday. There's 4 annoying quarter windows on that car. I'm over it. God, what are they called? Yeah, I did a full ceramic job on a 4Runner. So, here. I had an Impala like that. AC leak to fix was $2,500. Whoa, that's expensive for an AC leak. Damn. I know I've asked you before, but first time tinting with ceramic. I'm about to pull the trigger and buy film from your site. Pretty excited. Nice, very cool. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, ceramic is awesome. We're going to be using Pro Nano all on this car. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. Speaking of that, I might have to refill my spray tank. I should probably refill my spray tank. It's fine from yesterday, but still, whenever I start a new ceramic job, like I filled it later yesterday, so maybe I'll get halfway through. I don't know. I recommend the green squeegee. It's a pretty good one. Thank you. Oh, the greens. What's the best budget ceramic I should buy? I don't really. For one, your name is Supreme. So what is budget and Supreme, dude? No, but really, I never think of budgets with ceramic so much. The way to save money with ceramic is half roll. Buy a 50-foot roll if you want to save some money and get a good quality one. I'm still new. No, you are Supreme. No, I just like, cause that's the whole brand, right? Do you have like the red logo and everything? I don't do colors. Oh, I don't do color stable, just carbon and ceramic. Then why are you looking for budget? You're doing higher end, like that's your target. Yeah, don't shop cheap with that stuff. Just get half rolls. Pro Nano's a good option. There's also Carbon Plus. Those are both through Geo. I mean, there's Helios and Tint Depot, of course, but Budget and ceramic in the same sentence. Yeah, see, that's kind of like, that's the meme. Because when you sacrifice, so you have those staple 3 categories: dyed, carbon, and ceramic. Those are like the 3 main ones right now. Whenever you sacrifice price on any one of those 3, you're getting a lesser quality version of that thing. So cheap ceramics can still block out a lot of heat. They're just not very clear. And to me, when somebody's coming in to get a tint job, there's some things that are taken for granted or expected. And one, it should just be clear. So giving somebody a hazy job just makes you, like, they would rather, in most cases, I'm assuming, or at least whatever, most people would want at least a basic clear job than a hazy, hard to see through ceramic job. Except for some of the people that saw my Walmart video. That's the only thing that crossed my mind. So I don't sacrifice price on any one of those categories because I don't want to install a subpar version of any of them. My way of saving some money on a job is just using a dyed or a carbon film. But so you would be shooting for, if you don't want to offer dyed films, what I would recommend is doing a carbon, a ceramic, and then a super ceramic film. I was thinking of going in that direction for a little while too. You know what? I gotta do something quick. This like rubber spot that's been really irritating me lately. Let me go get something. Like Walmart ceramic, exactly. I was thinking maybe crystalline. What do you think? You're going to have a hard time just getting your hands on crystalline. Crystalline is upwards of like over 1,000 a roll and requires a very different shrinking process from what you typically see on this channel. So I would get your feet wet with just something that's easier, and then move to something like that if you really feel the need to. How do I cut all this off? Well, that's how I do it. I'm just trying to get like a small little microfiber patch on like my headset or something so it's not irritating right here. I'm gonna play with a couple ceramics, but we'll see what happens. Have you, I mean, you said you're new. Have you used any ceramics before? Or any films? I'm assuming you've installed some film, right? All right. Let's try that. Any word on Apex? Yeah, actually. I just put it back on another car on the windshield, and it went much better. So I like it. There's just been, so this has been, I tried not to panic, but yeah, Instagram is over. Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Oh my God, what are we doing now? Hello? Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be able to get it in today. I could, sorry, I thought I was calling on my other number. I could get you in time early next week, though. Okay, we book ahead of time, so yeah, definitely give a little leeway on that. Have a good one. I always like those awkward, somebody wants to get in like right now, you can hear their car driving, and then you want to like booking into next week, and then he's like, all right, I'll call next week. It's like, I know you're politely declining, but you don't want to sound like you are. And, all right, let's get started. Yeah, he's like, he's politely declining, but he said he'll call back next week. But it's like, okay, well, if you call back next week, you're not going to be able to get in next week. You'll get in the week after, and there will be that perpetual problem. All right, we're going to do that. We're going to turn that off. Okay. Cool. Ding, ding, ding. I'm doing carbon for the price of your colors table film. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm higher on my starting prices. I know that. But it just depends on where you are too. I feel like dye tint is much darker on the inside than carbon or ceramic. They just seem really see-through. Interesting. I don't know. I don't feel quite that way about any of the films that I carry. They just, so you can have just different tones to the film that kind of make it seem darker, or have like a slightly darker appearance or a more blacker tone to it. Yeah, I was way overthinking like where I was starting in the beginning, and I was kind of wanted to do all carbon and ceramic. I thought that was a really good, like a really interesting idea. But one thing that's very real is trying to explain the value between one thing and another thing. So while I still install the majority carbon and ceramic right now, there's a clear, there's kind of like a clear upgrade path to all of it. It's like the dye doesn't block out much heat, carbon blocks out 50, ceramic blocks out 75 and on up. What's your carbon prices? So carbon is also right now my best value prop too. So I do $290 for dyed on all the sides and the rear, and then I do $350 for carbon. Because carbon really isn't much more expensive. And what I'd like to do is at least do a lot more carbon and ceramic jobs, but I always have that option to go a little bit lesser. I did my first reverse roll this week. I still don't understand it, but it worked perfectly. I felt the same way. Nice job, that's awesome. Ooh, Daniel Reyna, what's up?
Daniel Reyna super chatted $9.99. Good morning by the day. Must have master.
Good morning. How you doing, man? Thank you so much for the 10. Oh yeah, this place is kind of a little scattered. Probably doesn't look too crazy, but Jack, my new hire, he ended up patching all the walls and painting all of that. So there's no more. Well, we got to put another coat there, but there's not going to be any more blue there. It's going to be nice and clean and just bright all the way through. It's looking really good. I'm pretty happy. It's been a long time coming. The main thing was covering up the holes in the wall. I should probably shut that driver's door. Impala's got a louder sound here. Boom, boom. They play it through the speakers. Some of them just do it through the driver's speakers. Some of them play it through all the speakers. Then it's quiet. Did you say Apex went well? Are you going to start offering it? Yeah, probably. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. Oh, I forgot my other problem here. There we go. So there've been a couple adhesive differences. So C2 Carbon is my favorite. And so when Geo came out with Carbon Plus, it's built off the same structure. So it's got the same adhesive and everything. But we're having issues with curling off of windshields in the lighter shades, even if there's no dots. It's like a super weird issue to have. So it's not apparently a bad adhesive. It just doesn't have as strong of an initial tack. So it's throwing some people off, including me. Like, I installed it a little bit.
RGC super chatted $4.99.
RGC!
Tint dude working on a Saturday, very nice.
RGC with the 5, thank you. Tint dude working on a Saturday, very nice. Yeah, I don't think I've had Saturdays off ever since I've started working. Saturdays have always just been another work day. They used to be lighter, though. They used to be like till 2 o'clock. And then I think they realized, oh, hey, most people are off on Saturdays, so then Saturdays are then the money-making day. So then I'd take, you take a day off throughout the week, and then Friday and Saturday are like your busy, busy days. Sometimes a little rollover onto Monday. Is there a way to overcome the curling? Yeah, so I have a couple little ideas. I'm told it's really the amount of soap that you use. But here's the thing. Like, a couple geofilms are in the complete opposite direction, where you need to go higher on your soap. But I've noticed you don't need to use quite as much on the carbon. But I can still use the same amount with no consequences on the carbon. So I've been running the exact same slip with every film. But where it bites me a little bit is, so I did the Ultima windshield. And the thing about it was it has the dots laminated in the glass. And so I thought it was a dot issue in the glue. Turns out the dots in the glue will just make it harder to stick. But the dots on the Ultima are laminated in between the film and the glass. And then so as it's drying, it does that little curl where it starts to roll back off the window. So you have to babysit it while it's drying, press it back down, and you can get it to stick. But on the Blazer, it took me, with the Carbon Plus, it took me an extra like 20 minutes to get it to stick. I don't like that, because to me, there's other problems that could happen when you're trying to get it to stick. You could have little pieces of dirt find their way in. You could have little air bubbles. Like once it finally decides to tack, then it locks in an air bubble in like a little corner or something, and then you're screwed. So I'm still gonna play around with it some, but from what I hear, it's only the lighter shades. It's just confusing to me that it's the same adhesive as the C2. It legitimately is, but it's got a weird change, or like it reacts differently with the ceramic lines. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep an extra bottle of water, probably just straight water or something a little bit more aggressive. And then when I do a windshield, I might install it and then spray the ends, or I'll just, when I go to install it, I'll spray the ends with a different slip. Or maybe I'll play around with a lighter slip altogether then. Does the tint come from from your site? Does it come from Geo directly? Yes, it all drop ships out of Louisiana. Because they are a beast at fulfillment. I don't want to get in the way of that. They will be much better at taking care of you, cutting down stuff, and getting it out ASAP. They are fast. Do you like that small squeegee they sent you from Sun Distributing? It's hard as a rock. The keychain? I don't think it's supposed to be used as a keychain. I thought it would be cool if it was. Oh, this one has a hole in it now. Yeah, I think it's just like a Fusion keepsake. I don't think it's supposed to be used. At least, yeah, it doesn't feel like it. I want your signature on the box. I appreciate that. But yeah, no can do. All right, so Pro Nano 20. So we're doing 20 on the front, 35, or sorry, 20 on the front, 35 on the windshield, 5 on the back. Just a little reminder. Rick said it does rear windows. Maybe if you posted a video of doing an entire rear window, maybe somebody would send you something special then. Sounds like a challenge that I'm not interested in. Pro Nano versus Carbon Plus. Yeah, Pro Nano's better. Super.
Chano super chatted $1.99. I have a 96 Impala coming in soon. Any tips?
Ooh. Run. I have a 90. Channel, thank you so much for the 2. I have a 96 Impala coming in soon. Any tips? You're going to have to pull the entire rear deck on that one. 96 Impalas are way worse than any modern Impala. Curved glass, tight seals, and you need to remove the deck because there's a third brake light that presses against the glass. It's all like plastic and stuff. You're in for a project. I do not want to do that car. I hope you charged extra. That's like, honestly, it's worse than a Crown Vic. Crown Vics aren't super fun, but they're like, it's okay. I don't have to do anything crazy to it. Impala's worse. About to order half roll of Geo for Shields, Pro Nano versus Carbon Plus. Versus Carbon Plus. Stick to Pro Nano right now, honestly. I'm dabbling with Carbon Plus, but I think Pro Nano outperformed it. Wow, it's just busy right now. Thank you.
Spencer
super.
Johnson super chatted $1.
Spencer with $1. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. God, what am I trying to say here? Okay. So Carbon Plus versus Pro Nano. God, why can't I get this straight here? One more. I just need to get in the groove right now. Carbon Plus is like spec-wise higher on IR numbers. I put it in front of the heat box, and like I was legitimately confused because I was expecting it. I was expecting it to do better, and compared to Pro Nano, it was spitting out numbers a little bit higher. So for context, BTU meter I usually set at like 300 for a baseline. And then when I switched it over to ceramic on Pro Nano, it's about 80 to 85. With Carbon Plus, it was about 100. So it still looks really nice. And it blocks out a lot of heat. Just maybe not quite as much. But so I like the look of it a lot. But right now I would just go with Pro Nano because there's just some adhesive quirks with Carbon Plus when it comes to windshields. So until people really develop a good way of doing those, or I've just been told use less soap or something like that and you should be fine. So keep that in mind when you go to do it. But if you had to pick one to be on the safe side right now, you can't go wrong with Pro Nano. You're gonna get just as much, if not more, performance, and it's gonna install consistently right now. Still new, been tinting for 4 months. Your content has been a lifesaver. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Dudes, oh man, can I talk about this here now? There's another Facebook group that asked to buy out my Facebook group. I was gonna make a post, but then the more I'm looking at this post, I'm like, most of these people have no idea that this other group even exists. Not unless you're just like inside the tint circle. But my Facebook group has grown so exponentially. Like we're just hitting 50,000, I think, today, which is insane. And so apparently they want to boost their numbers and reach a broader audience or whatever. So they want to buy my group. But then what am I supposed to do? I'd be bored. And there isn't any practical number. Actually, there isn't any exaggerated number either that I'd be interested in because, like, again, RGC, tell them kick rocks. Fame is more important than money. I like having the group, man. I really do. I'm not famous in my own group. Actually, there's tons of people that join that have absolutely no idea because it's pretty self-sustaining. But things are going very well with everything that I'm doing right now. And the Facebook group isn't like a it's just an extra thing that I have that I really like because I'd like the community to have somewhere to go. I wish YouTube had something, but they don't, so Facebook it is. And I like having it, and if I sold it, I'd just start another one and do the exact same thing. Yep. Yep, that was a popular thought. Exactly what I said. Sell it, create a new one, and then we'll just switch. I think okay, there'd be an initial boost. Certain people would join. But, you know, it's no matter what I like to think of how things are going right now, there's reality's going to set in, and it's going to be a grind to build up a group again. That's just how it is. That is with any new thing that you do. I'm reasonably confident I could do it again, though. Because I don't think people really understand what they're doing to ruin their own groups, but hey, it is what it is. I had no idea you were admin for the group the first 3 to 6 months of the group. Yeah, exactly. It's just like a really popular good tint group, right? That's kind of the idea. So originally it was, I mean, it still is. It was a place for the community to go and discuss things, ask questions, get help from lots of other people too. And I like it a lot. But my posts, everybody's equal in that group. There's nobody that has any better shot at getting something seen as anybody else in that group. So to also own it is kind of, in a way, silly. Yeah, I'm talking about my public group. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to buy it. Rather than build something cool on their own, they gotta just buy something. But yeah, I wanted to make a post. I wanted to make a post in the group, and is it weird that I feel like I can't even say anything about it in the group? Because I don't think enough people would actually even care. But you guys get where I'm coming from, so I can tell you guys about it at least. But it's funny. I'd tell more, but things have kind of just come full circle, and it's really funny to me. I want to start a Facebook group of people who aren't on Facebook. Well, then you could just make accounts for all of them. Morning. Are both the blue and the tan scrub pads safe for glass? Yes. Yes. Thankfully, right? That would be horrific. So one is a little bit more aggressive than the other, but yeah, they're both safe for glass. I like the look of the blue pad, but I like the green scrubber, and I think the green scrubber comes with the tan. But I think I have both floating around here somewhere. I deleted my Facebook years ago. Yeah, probably for good reason. I mean, I'm not proud to be on that platform, but there is what most people use, and there is there's like fundamental features that are really it's a solid platform. You can't get anything better anywhere else, honestly. Like, Discord's cool, And Discord, you can build a reasonable community, but it's not as helpful in the same way. It's more for like casual discussions and stuff. And like ongoing things. So if I leave a Discord for like 15 minutes, I'm completely lost when I come back. Forum posting is still like the best way to have for any like learning group, so it's just kind of how it is. And then that's already where the majority of people already are, so you can't really fight that very much either. It's very, very hard to start anything anywhere else. It's a ton of work. And you gotta have a really good reason. Like this is another thing that's took me a long time to understand. You can build the exact same thing on a different platform, but the problem is nobody will go to it unless there's like a significant reason to go there. If it's largely the same thing, they'll just go to what they already go to. It used to be a good community. Yeah, the groups are really like all I pay attention to. Everything else is noise. I think that's the one thing that they still have going for them. So I literally open it up, go straight to the group. That's all I do. But I just thought it was kind of a funny thing to bring up. Because we've just been plugging away. Everything's cleaned up. I mean, I'm really happy with the state of it. It's pretty awesome. And it just keeps growing like mad. Alright, I think before I go to install, I'll fill up my tank. I'll refill it. I'm gonna rinse it out. My first email along with my Facebook got stolen. Yikes. You know, that's kind of sad that your email is like your main way to recover anything, and if that gets compromised, then you're screwed. All right, yeah, so I think we'll be okay. Let's just freshen it up. But also, look at these walls. There's so much. They're walls. Everybody's like, hey, it's walls. Takes me 30 minutes to shrink the tint, and it still doesn't shrink right. Any tips? Really pay attention to what happens in the videos. I mean, I don't usually plug my training classes very much, but I do have a training class. There's a couple things that a lot of people miss when they're starting out. And even when I'm there hands-on to kind of like correct them, they fall back into like an old habit. You need to do everything you can to not get the tint to shrink on the sides. So whenever it lifts off the sides and pulls, like you need to make sure that this is kind of like locked down, but don't lock it down all the way this far into the window. You're just gonna like leave the edge straight and always just shrink straight down. Don't ever get it to pull off the sides. And then when you're shrinking, you're always looking for those air, like they're vertical fingers, they settle down, and then they kind of widen out into wider air pockets because the film is going from this to then flatter. So then that kind of exhibits itself in like an air pocket. Like you just see that air pocket starting to go like this. So when it goes to about here, you can smooth that down. And you just smooth it down to the next part that looks like this, and then you keep going. The farther you go, the more heat that you're going to need. But watch how the film shrinks. So you don't have to go fast. You can go as slow as you want. So I understand it takes 30 minutes and you still mess it up. So you are going slower. But you're just, yeah, I see people mess that up any number of ways. Rewatch all the shrinking videos that I recently posted and just take your time with it. Also, don't use Lexan if you're using it. Just, that'll make it way harder. It really will. I've never heard this info about not lifting off. No, we always say it. You probably just didn't catch it quite right. That's a H pattern. So film can only be shrunk. Film can only be shrunk vertically, and it pinches when you start to shrink it on the sides. So where a lot of people run into problems is they're kind of shrinking in here and it's going okay, and then they shrink like they shrink right on the side, and then it just like pulls this whole mess, and then they keep trying to go, and there's no way to recover from it. So lock down your side, but this gets into the little nitty-gritty of it. You lock down your side, you start shrinking it initially, and then once you get going like 3-4 inches, you can actually pick the side back up and readjust it, and then it'll smooth this out a little bit more, and then you can shrink farther. A lot of people will leave these locked down indefinitely and never adjust it, and then you pinch a bunch of film up in the top corners. So you got to just shrink in an up and down direction. Don't let anything pull in from the sides. But you can readjust and push some film out on the edge. You just got to kind of know what you're looking for. It's a hard thing to describe. It's easier to show. But I do my best. Like even at the classes, I'm constantly readjusting people and kind of trying to explain. And then when they do those right things, everything goes very quickly and very smoothly. Then they forget or they're not paying attention, and then the film is then pulling from the side. All right, so we'll do the doors. We'll jump over to the back window. We got a back window and we got a full windshield to do. So there'll be as much shrinking on this as there can be. Let's get a razor. Yeah, not shrinking the sides is one of the most helpful tips for me. Yeah. I wish there was like a easy way to describe it. Yeah, I'll definitely show it. And people, please remind me. Because inevitably, somebody asks something else, and then I talk about something else. This was a good idea. I put a little piece of fabric on my GoPro headset, and I guess that little rubber grip was really irritating my forehead because it was getting itchy and ugh. Now it's much better. It's comfortable now. Okay, we need some side tools. Like, it's not really uncomfortable before. It just was getting, like, itchy. Maybe I'm just having a reaction to the rubber. Look at that. Ew! Laminated front doors. A lot of dirt. They make sweatbands for hard hats. They may work for that. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah. Where is all my dirt coming from? Definitely always check your top edge. Scrub it till it's clean. Yeah, whenever you have laminated front windows, they typically don't do that on the back windows of most cars, but for sound, they'll laminate the front doors sometimes to keep the car quieter. And there can be this groove in the top of it, and it'll just collect dirt over time. So when you go to spray and squeegee a top edge, you constantly will have little bits of dirt that just kind of slowly pick themselves up out of it, unless you give it a really, really good scrub down. All right, let's get this pulled down. There's that. Let's cross our fingers that this goes well. So I'll get it close, right? And then I'll roll this up a little bit, and then we'll just see if it does that. Watch this. Just push it back down and then slide it into my seal. I want to make sure that the film is as flat to the window as possible, because anytime you have a bubble or like a ripple, what'll happen is it loses, I guess the best way to describe it is it loses structure. So you're relying on the flatness against the glass to help keep, like pushing a piece of paper on a table. As soon as that paper buckles, it's not as strong anymore, and then it'll curl up. But if you keep that piece of paper flat and you can just slide it right across the table, it's got a little bit of structure behind it. So same thing with the sides. Just try and keep it flat, and then also it's as flat up against the window as it possibly can be, so less bumping against the seals and stuff. God, this one's really grippy. corner. Put that guy in. Put that one in. Big air pocket. How do I stop getting creases where I fold the film on 2-stage? Don't fold it as hard. You'll get a bend, and then you'll heat it out and press all the air out, and you'll be fine. So, you guys ever seen like the foldy phones? They don't just flat bend it and flatten it, right? You're not like hard creasing it. You're folding the film, but you're letting it bow still in that area. And that allows the film to like sit pretty flat against the window, but it can still like pinch an impression into the film. And that's fine. Then just take some heat and press all the water out, and then the air will be left, and then you just press all the air out. And then it'll stick and lock down, and you won't have any, like you're not gonna have a big crease that juts into your window. It's gonna be like a little thing, and then you just do touch-ups and it's gone. So another thing is to minimize that, don't have as much film to tuck into the sides. Just, we're only going a little bit into the sides, maybe this far on both sides. So then not having so much to tuck into the sides then makes tinting my side windows much easier too. That's another thing. That's actually, maybe I should write those down. I gotta think of a title for it, but the top things I see most people do when they come to my class, that was one of them. They just cut patterns too big, and then they slim them down, and they have a much easier time. And they're like, oh, well, I thought I had to tuck it farther into the sides. No, you need to just cover all your gaps. When you cut, wow, there's no tape there, okay. When you cover all your gaps, like that's the goal. It's helpful to tuck film farther down into some seals because there can be like a double seal there. But honestly, even that's a little overrated. Just getting below the first seal line, keeping that film nice and smooth and locked down, you're not going to have peeling issues. Like I think this is one of the better examples is, you know, all the stickers that they put on the glass, those don't ever peel. You can be years and years down the road and the stickers never peel. Those aren't tucked into the seal. Window tint has a very strong bond to the glass, but it's a helpful thing to have it below the seal because that takes away any chance of it peeling. But if you have a really clean install, you tucked it below that seal, and then you do this and it locks and bonds down to the bottom of the glass, then it should not go and peel. And if you have the occasional one that does it, then take care of it, obviously. But it's going to be a very rare occurrence. There, I got that there. A good instructional video might be a good idea. Have a macro, like zoom close up to show the crease and how much you can actually bend. Yep, the last handful of videos I've done on doors, I try. I have a better camera now, though, so I'll try and make it happen. It's a hard thing for a camera to focus on. It's really annoying. There's so many reflections, and you got to get the light just right. But when you do, it'll be pretty clear. But like it'll have like, so there'll be a little pinch point, or there'll be like a little like side finger here. And then if you just go to swipe it down, it'll pop back up. So then I just put a little heat on the glass, and then I'll use like the back, like use this edge on a tri-edge. Same thing with on like the greens and stuff, like here. And then you just press it up against the glass and just start on the outside and press all that air out. You're good. All right. Oh, no, I have one here. Cool. Do I have... So yeah, on this one, this is just regular glass. This isn't laminated. Still doesn't mean that the top edge can't be dirty. It looks like it is. But there's not going to be as much grime that can sit on top of there because it's all rounded. Yeah, carpet shield's best when you can do that because it's for construction. So when you get your house carpeted, like literally that's what it's for. So it'll stick to the carpet, and then they can just keep kicking the roll out. But to try and put it on the door or get a nice piece off of it, you need a way to like mount it on a wall. I've been tinting at dealerships. Now I'm stepping into tinting new cars. Oh, mostly tinting new cars. Now you're doing retail. How can I ensure I've got the cleanest install? Little extra things, these help. Taping side seals on older cars and whatnot, but you'll be fine. Don't overthink it. Your environment doesn't even have a lot to do with it. If you were doing good work out of a dealership, you'll do fine elsewhere. Environment and new cars, like when I get a brand new car that comes in, like, yeah, that's nice, it helps. Doesn't mean there's not dirt on the windows, but like there's much less. But honestly, on like this car is not, like, has a fair amount of grime on the windows. Windows clean up very quickly and very easily for the most part. If it's just regular like grimy buildup, you can razor it, scrape the top edge, squeegee it off, and then you're good to go. Taping the side seals is just kind of a bonus. Like it helps. I had an 01 Focus yesterday. Was the dirtiest car that I've had in a long time. Anytime I touched the framing on the doors, it just left grime all over my hands. It was filthy. But again, I did the exact same thing. I just spent a little time, cleaned them up, taped the sides. I think we threw out the tape. I should have taken a picture. I've never seen so much dirt on house wrap tape in my life yet. It was very grimy, but it's awesome because that's all dirt that could have washed into my tint as I was installing it. But you just wrap the seals, and then it's not an issue anymore. Just makes it easier. Here we go. Here we go. Roll this up. Different handle squeegee today? No, it's the same one. It's the hybrid. It fell out when I was working on that Focus. So I forgot which way it was facing, so I just put it back in. Maybe it's to the other side. I genuinely don't remember. I was like, which way was I using it? I don't know. I can't tell the difference. I'd actually have to go look at my video. What's the benefit of the other tri-edge tools? Just like any tool, they all have their use cases. I like some of them and I don't like other ones. So everything that you see me use is everything that you need, plus a couple little extras. But then in the world of tools, there's lots of personal preference. Like some people like the green tri-edges, some people like the blue ones, some people like the Tint was purple ones. I like all of them, and they all do the job great. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want to use, and you're just like, yeah, this one's a little softer, this one's a little bit harder. I kind of gravitate towards using this one, and it's just something that I like. The tri-edge, other options, like, they can be worth having. The only thing I really misunderstand is the reach. Okay, so here's a really good example. This is like one of those side finger fold thingies, and it's a little bit more pronounced on this side, and there isn't much of one on that side. Probably because this side beveled, and I don't know, whatever, it happened. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press the water out first, and now it looks just like a little side finger here. So I'm gonna heat up this area, and you gotta keep in mind it takes time for the heat to transfer to the inside of the glass. So you touch the outside, it's warm. You touch the inside, it starts to get warmer. There's a delay. So what you wanna do is you wanna warm it up some. Don't overheat it because this paneling is gonna heat up more. So you can either block it or just gradually heat it up, but don't burn his trim. Warm that spot up, and the best temperature to keep it at is when it hurts. Don't overheat it past that. If it just, when you put your hand on the inside of where that spot is, it's an internal thermometer. You're warming up the spot until it literally hurts to keep your hand there. And once it starts to hurt and you can't really keep your finger there much longer, don't heat it up more than that. Do things to keep it at that temperature. But then you should be able to just use the back of this card and swipe that out. Oh, look, it popped back up. Hang on, let me press it a little bit more. Where'd it go? It's gone. Hello, Tint Studio, how can I help you? Yeah, sure thing. We have a couple different options. What windows were you looking to tint? Okay, so all the sides and the rear? Did you want to do the full windshield too, or no windshield? Okay, with the windshield. All right, I've got a couple different options as far as film types go. Our starting film is a color stable dyed film. That would be for, excuse me, one sec. That would be $450 for all the sides, the rear, and the windshield. Up from there, we have a carbon film, and we also have a ceramic film. The better films basically help block out more heat. The carbon would be $550, and the ceramic would be $650. all around, we could do 5% all the way around, and as dark as 35 on the windshield. But yeah, it would be 450 starting. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely not going to be the cheapest place, so. All right, you have a good one. Quote, those prices are wicked. I don't think he was saying that in a good way. All right, let me call around. I'm going to get some other quotes, and then I'll call you back. That's fine. I don't care. I hear that a lot, and you can always tell when you're getting a call like that versus some of the people that actually have done a little research beforehand. Saturday morning, lots of random phone calls. Yep, lots of pricing. I just bought the Stroke Doctor. Stroke Doctor is a good one. That was my favorite. I used that before I ever gave the side swipe a chance. So you guys see me now constantly use the side swipe. I was using the Stroke Doctor a long time before I was ever using the side swipe. I handed this to some people at the class. They really like the handle, gives you a farther reach. The only thing I don't like about this is I wish the blade was longer or a little bit more flexible, because it seems to leave some air pockets behind as you're swiping if you don't press quite hard enough, where the side swipe I'm usually better at contouring that blade. But the side swipe, you have to really slim up your hand and reach it in there, because it's just not, it doesn't give you as good of a handle. People always looking for the cheapest tint is something you don't want to go cheap on. Yeah, you'll definitely find that with anything. When you demonstrated that a few weeks ago with the Stroke Doctor, I was sold on buying one. Yeah, that's good. I should bring up a couple more tools as I think of them, like things that I used to use. I mean, in my head, I'm always like, well, if I used to use it and I don't use it anymore, I'm just going to show what I currently use. But I have lots of other squeegee blades and stuff here. So if anybody's got a question on other tools, I try and carry other just examples to show why I like something or why I don't like something. They're costly, but worth it. Yeah, you're never going to need another one. I think, what are they? They're probably like $30 now, aren't they? I searched Stroke Doctor. So you need to search it on a tint tool site. Yep, I could see a problem there. PSA, also a PSA making sure it's being used the right way. Yeah, right. I'm always I wish there was something that I could always say so everybody would be on the same page with everything. But there's always going to be only a certain amount of people that actually catch, this one tip or whatever at the time that I say it, even if I make a dedicated video on it. But it's nice that more people would know. What application would you use a Conqueror? Ooh, that's a good one. Trick the door to get it to stop beeping? No, I like to let you guys suffer through at least one door. I'll shut it afterwards. I used to care. I don't care anymore. You tune it out when you've been tinting for a long time. So the Conqueror is great. It just doesn't have as much of a purpose for me anymore because Tri-Edge exists. But the Conqueror was always a way for me to have a surefire way of squeegeeing out the sides and the bottom without risking scratching the film. The problem with it is that it's a little bit thick. So there's times I would get down to the bottom corner, I'd pull the Conqueror back out, and then it'd yank the corner of the film out with it. So that kind of sucked. But it's a great tool. Let's see. I know we got them somewhere. Where do we got them? You guys want pizza? Here's, oh wow, there's a whole lot more pizza coupons there. What roll of film is this? Oh, this is that transition film. I forget that I ordered another roll of it. I was gonna make a follow-up or something. Wait, it closed captions the beep beeps? Does it really? Oh my god, that's smart. Okay, I swear I've got them around here somewhere. Oh, there they are. They're on the wall. Aw, well that almost made my day. Okay, so this is the Conqueror, and I can sneak this into the seal pretty well. It's just, you have to push a little bit harder to do it. But it's got this nice rubber edge on it. So it's really good at squeegeeing the water out. You just keep it pressed up against the glass, you swipe it down. So I used to clean windows with this a lot, especially. I moved over to just using the tri-edges because they're thinner and they don't squeegee the film. Or, I mean, sorry, the tri-edges do squeegee the film. They don't scratch the film near as much as what I was using before that, which was a easy reach. All right, so we'll do this. But yeah, Conqueror, that was one of the main tools that I would keep inside my belt for every door window, and I do that. Sweep them out, and I do the same thing with the tri-edge. So I would still always have one around. Inevitably, you're gonna have like a deep quarter window or something, like on the older Camrys, like the triangle quarter windows. You're gonna have something that you need to get in. Yeah, like somebody said, like you just need to get in a tighter place with something like that. But still have a good squeegee blade on it, where something like a tri-edge, you know, it can reach the same spot, but it's just not as much of a squeegee. It's more of like a plastic card. It's just sometimes you need just that extra blade or something to get that water out, or the air out. All right, let's line this up. Hey man, I'm looking for tint. Can you tint mine for $200? Yeah, if we're just doing front doors, absolutely. Oh, okay. So see, I go and grab a tri-edge. What I would do is I would use this, but this is also grippy. Just slide way easier on basically anything. This is grippy, so you always got to make sure the window is sprayed, and then you tuck this in to the side and then swipe up or swipe down. You're just gonna make sure that you have this right against, and then. But when it comes to getting this deeper into the seal, this is just wider at the base or at the edge here. So that's when I would grab something like an easy reach and do one of these guys. problem with an easy reach is that it'll wear out much faster and you're scratching windows. That's why the Triad is kind of like a perfect mix of both. It's very slim, doesn't hardly scratch ever. If it does, just get a new one. But they last way longer, or get their Smooth It tool or whatever. I'm gonna pull this. What about the Gator? Gator Blade's great. I honestly forget that I have it sometimes. But I usually have one in my tool belt. If I don't have one in my tool belt, then I have other things that I can use in place of a Gator Blade. So I don't really need it. But they're very nice to have around. I use a Gator Blade as my hardest touch-up tool. If I really need to press up something, I'll use that, and I'll also use it as a scraper tool. But it's not the best scraper tool. It's not as good as a razor blade is for scraping, but when you don't need to do much for scraping, it's fine. I just bought one and it looks very aggressive. Well, so whatever you do, you're not going to use the Gator Blade for installation. It's only for cleaning and touch-ups. That goes with like hard cards, hard material things. You're never going to use something like that for installation. I've seen signs that say $999, so $650 is fair. What? Oh, on the ceramic one? Yeah, I honestly, when I was quoting that, I even quoted it wrong. It was $650. It's supposed to be $7. Wicked. See, and look at me. I go right back to what I like better. So, and then you can, ooh, there's like 5 reasons why I use this over this that I'm slowly remembering. So another reason is when you're sliding down to the bottom seal, this blunted edge butts up against the seal, and you need to use another tool to pull this back. Small little quality of life difference. Tri-edge goes right into that bottom seal, and then you can just keep going. It's awesome. Both good tools. Tri-edge has replaced it though. What's the black spot? Oh, this? Yeah, that's a piece of cut tint. It's on the outside. And to be honest, I didn't even notice it because it's on the outside. V-Nano? No, V-Nano doesn't fit into my product lineup. It's a budget ceramic film. So 5-year warranty. It's like, so if you're going to get like a less expensive ceramic, I hear V-Nano's a pretty decent option for it. But I don't think it makes sense. Well, not when you're set up like I am. So if I'm trying to save a client money, it's with the dyed film. Like, if the client wants to save money, it's with a dyed film. Or it's with a carbon film. It's not with a ceramic film. Plus, you're like nickel and diming. Does that make sense? You get to this place where, like, this is for the shops, not for the clients. Like, saving money and going with a different film type, like, there's no worries there. I just don't like to install anything that I wouldn't have on the vehicle forever. But there's, so look at the roll prices. And then look at how much you're spending per car to tint that car in film. And you start to realize that economy films in their respective categories don't really make much of a difference. Oops. It's like a sticker there. Like, how come I keep getting fingers on windows I shouldn't be? I squeegee from top from left to right. I push the rest straight down. I'm thinking I should always go from left to right instead. I mean, maybe. Evenly distributing the film is always important. So if you've shrunk it enough, and then you press the film straight down, it's compressing it together, where when you're swiping kind of sideways, you're kind of like smoothing it out over a wider area, like a little bit, but it's like small differences there. You should be able to do it either way if it's shrunk right. So I'm not sure. It usually just means you have to shrink more. But hey, if there's one way that is working for you and not the other way, then do what's working for you. There's no sense in like changing up a squeegee pattern for the sake of just changing it up. There should be a reason for it. Like, hey, this is much more efficient to do it this way, or can you tint outdoors? Ugh. Yeah. You're just fighting against everything. It's not like detailing. Detailing, if you have a light breeze, like, you're happy because then it keeps you a little cooler during the day. But it might blow a chemical onto the paint. I don't know. But for window tint, you basically have a kite. So when you have a small cross breeze, it wants to pick that up and fly away. Then when you pick it up off the car, same thing, it wants to fly away, and it'll blow the film and crease. And then it'll also blow dust. So it's like you're fighting against so much. And then also your business is then dependent on the weather. If I was in like the snow business in Michigan right now, I'd be very sad. I mean, yeah, it's summer, but actually in the wintertime. We haven't hardly had much snow in the past few years. It's been far less. Just go, if you're ever wondering if you should sit outside, just go take a piece of film, like the size of a door window, and just stand outside. Any day. And just watch that sucker go. Sunstrip with a slight breeze? Yeah, no thanks. I mean, I'll never fault anybody for doing what they have to do to get started, or, you know, everybody starts somewhere. It's just really, it's so much more cost effective to like rent a storage unit and practice there than just try and practice in a driveway for free. You'll ruin so much more film outside in your driveway than in an enclosed space. Tinting's, there's enough things that make tinting cars annoying. Yep. In my garage, leave the door open, slight breeze. Yep. If it's very like, you can leave a door open a little bit, but yeah, as soon as it starts affecting your work, shut it. Yeah, you know, I didn't really even think about that until I said it. Because you're wasting money on film, and when when that your weather conditions are wasting your film, why not spend that money on a place that you know that you can tint? So like a storage, don't get me wrong, like a storage unit is not ideal, and it's not somewhere where I'd want to run a business. I have seen instances where guys start there though, and it's very cheap. But no matter what, it's gonna cost you some money. Just people try and figure out how it to cost no money, but at what expense? The real expense is the things that you think might not happen. And that's wrong, because they will happen. They will happen, they'll give you a hard time, and they will waste your money. Like, not having, ugh. This goes for mobile tinting too. There's opportunity cost with everything.
Brandon Mills super chatted $1.99. Thanks for all the knowledge, Matt.
Brandon with the 2, thank you. Thanks for all the knowledge. Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the 2. But yeah, there's a ton of opportunity costs with everything, or lost opportunities. So when you're doing mobile tint, there is the driving time, there is the setup time, and those are the biggest pain in the butts. And everything else that you're fighting around. So you can get efficient at doing it, but it's always going to cost you some time. Where what's scarier to most people, including me at the time, was a fixed cost of an actual space, because like, oh, that money is always due at the end of the month, right? I'm working here to pay for that rent, and then I got to make more. Where if I'm mobile, it's like, oh, I got a vehicle, but that doesn't really cost me anything because it's a vehicle, it gets me around. And then I can tint on somebody else's property that I'm not paying for, use all their water and electricity that I'm not paying for, or whatever, and I can save a bunch of costs. And that's all, that's true, but what you really lose out on is time and the things that you got to fight against to put out a halfway decent job. And what you'll learn is those little things will become so bothersome, they're just not worth what you're saving. Because what you're saving is, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. Unless you have a real nice niche mobile business. There's exceptions. There's exceptions. This isn't for absolutely everybody. But if you're just going to run a standard tint business, you're going to run around from place to place, tinting car after car after car, there really are things that get in the way that just make it not make a whole lot of sense. And I wish weather wasn't a thing, but it is.
Coming to full age in Christ super chatted $5. We all are indebted to you,
Christ!
Matt.
Thank you for the
Thanks.
5. I know your name's Dan at this point, but I'm going to call you Christ still. Thank you for the 5. We're all indebted to you, Matt. Thanks. Oh, I wouldn't say that, but thank you so much for the 5. No, I appreciate it. There's lots of people that support what I do here. They see the value in it. I really appreciate that I have enough things to keep everything going comfortably, and it's a lot of fun to do. So thank you again. Somebody asked where the fog machine. So I only have the lights plugged in. No fog machines. We're going through a few little renovations right now. So we have everything cleared away from the walls, and just went through and painted. So everything will get hooked back up. afterwards. So sorry, but it looks better right now. Where's the fog? We'll have the fog going in the next stream. But yeah, I've had big holes in the wall ever since I've moved in here. And I'm not a drywall guy, and the guy that I hired is not a drywall guy either. But I was like, hey, figure out how to patch some holes and then do that and paint the walls. And he's like, okay. I said that from the very beginning. I was like, I got a lot of miscellaneous projects. I want to get the walls painted. I want to do this, want to do that. So we'll have you doing orders and stuff. But then I have lots of random projects that if you're cool with working on, then you're hired. So now I'm slowly getting my space cleaned up, which is awesome because I don't have time to do that. But then I was wondering, how much do I pay somebody to do that? I could have hired a company, and they could have had it done probably within a day. But now I'm starting to see things from an hourly perspective, and I can tell you, I'm not exactly saving a lot of money by having them do it hourly. When you pay somebody for experience, you're also paying for efficiency. Getting my windows, so I actually have more of a perspective on hiring and paying somebody now, so that's kind of cool. I'm learning about that. Getting my windows tinted in a few weeks, so I take my window decals off. I don't need them anymore. Will help my tint guy out beforehand. Yeah, if you don't need them anymore, that would be nice. For most people, like a bumper sticker or a couple of decals on the outside of a back window or something, it's not a huge deal, but it is an extra thing that gets in the way. So yeah, if you don't need them anymore, it would make his life a little bit easier. I gotta figure what to decorate the walls with, though. Because now I have big, white, pretty walls, but I gotta do something to make them look cool. Doing that with big square footage is expensive. So I want to try and figure out. Something that looks good. What's the tape? Glass Aid. So this is a handy little tool I use. Max out the line, and then I cut directly on it. So I'd rather cut this and keep the glass safe than risk scoring the glass. So replacing that would be very expensive. Also inconvenient. It's not even it's honestly, like, money's only part of it. It's the convenience of it too. I don't even want to go get a haircut because it just takes time. It's like, ugh, I gotta go do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, what's the clear plastic over the door panels? That's what most people ask about. Carpet shield. So it's a carpet protector. It's just a big sheet of sticky plastic, but it's made to stick to carpet. So the adhesive is then made to release when you pull it. So it's a nice way to cover up door panels and not leave a bunch of sticky plastic behind. It's quick.
Joe Postiglione super chatted $4.99. I learn something new every stream. Thanks for always
that's cool.
being so in depth. Has seriously helped me and
Joe,
many
thank you so
others.
much for the 5. I learned something new every stream. Thanks for being so in depth. That has seriously helped me, and I'm sure many others. At this point, I might get rid of the robot voice because I've noticed I just read everybody's comments back. I made the robot voice as a way because I thought it was funny, and then also so people, like, I wouldn't have to read back questions necessarily, but then I do it. I'm probably too redundant.
LKB Python's super chatted $2. What's good, fam? Been a min.
LKB! What's up, man? Thank you for the 2. Yeah, it's been a little bit. What the heck, dude? Oh, this is carbon 5. We don't want to do carbon 5. We want to do the other 5. Pro Nano 5. Oh, wait. Oh, that wasn't. That was it. I'm getting my rolls confused, aren't I? Right? This is my 5? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. So, LKB with the 2, thank you. Anywhere Audio. Ooh, there's another one.
Anywhere Audio super chatted $10. Your explanation the other day of snap shrink finally made sense and I'm now hooked. BTW, in that shop that does on-site installs, often outside, and yes boats, excavators, etc. Winking face.
Thank you. Audio Anywhere Audio. Thank you so much for the 10. Your explanation the other day, snap shrinking, finally made sense. Now I'm hooked. Good. By the way, I'm that shop that does on-site installs, often outside, and yes, boats, excavators. I guess as your name implies, anywhere. And look, I can appreciate it to some respect. There's like 2 different people that I'm always talking to. There's already the people that do it, or just have it in them to make it happen, where they just kind of catch on with how to tint much faster. So you know what I mean? Like it's just easier for somebody like just to pick up, for certain people to pick up than others. But tinting is one of those things that is just difficult to learn. So when a lot of people in the very beginning go, oh, well, can I just do it in my driveway? And that's where I don't want to just say, yeah, go for it, no problem. And then they're like, what the fuck, you just blew all my shit around. Right, it doesn't make much sense. But I still stand by some of what I said. Doing excavators and stuff, it's hard to get those into a shop. But doing those on site, if you can charge more. What it really comes down to, oh yeah, and I said this too. There's always edge cases where there's people that actually charge appropriately for like the effort that they're putting into tint outside or tint elsewhere. I think the expectation from a lot of people is like, hey, if this guy is just tinting outside, shouldn't it be cheaper? Or if he's mobile, shouldn't it be cheaper? Well, no, it's a convenience. If they're coming to you, yeah, you have the space, but, you know, he can't do extra work at your place. It's literally there for that one job. That should be more expensive than probably going to a place that turns out a lot more jobs. I do have a 5-bay shop also, but on the road a lot. At the dealerships. Well then, see, I need to get more info. I need to get more info from people before I blanket say something, because you already know. Then you have a 5-bay shop. There's value in being mobile some of the time, sure, but there's also a lot of value in having a place that you can just pile up a lot of work and you can get it done through the day. Having a place is like your gathering place, and then you can handle more jobs, where if I always got to pack up and leave for every single car that I got to do, that just takes time out of my day. Okay, yeah, we're gonna explain shrinking again. So I've rough cut it. Basically, I slim it up on the sides, and I tacked it in the center. So backing up a couple of steps here, let's lift this. We just have a piece of film, and we square it up on the glass. So, because we gotta shrink everything vertically, up and down. We rolled it out this way, so all my shrinking happens up and down. You also want to square it up, so it's basically the same distance up there as it is the same distance there. It's leveled. So from there, we're gonna divide it into some sections. So since on most windows there's an even amount to shrink on the bottom as the top, I'm gonna like lift this up, kind of let it float. That way I can pull it from the center and then tack it down, and that's kind of my divider from top and the bottom. Then I gotta run over, gotta do it on the other side. You can just pick it up, let it float. That way it just lays nice and softly on there. It's not gonna bind up when you do this. Pull across and just tack it down. Now, people say H pattern, so that means a line there and then tack the sides down. So that's in an H pattern. That's where that comes from. But what I see people do is they'll take their card, it's 4 inches wide, and then they'll just tack all this area down here on the side, inside the line, and now you've pressed that down, so I can't shrink here. All my shrinking is going to have to be here and in. You want to give yourself as much surface area to work with as you possibly can. So what you really want to do is you want to prevent these fingers from ever shrinking this way, because it's just going to screw you up. So you can take your hand or the edge of your card or whatever, and you're going to push this up, and you're just going to get the sides to lay flat on the glass. So that's touching the glass throughout. That's touching the glass. And if you want to, you can wet your hand or something, and you can literally lift it up, put a little bit of water here, and that'll help hold the film in place a little bit firmer. But we're going to start to shrink it, and then we're going to readjust the side. So most of my shrinking is going to happen on the side edges. The center bows up. These fingers are smaller. Most of the curve is on the edge in the corner. So I'm just going to hold my heat gun like 45-degree angle. So if I'm shrinking top, 45-degree angle pointed this way, switch over to the bottom, pointed that way. I'm going to wait for this film here to just look like this. It was in a point before. You can see how it's relaxing and laying down like that. So then whenever it's sideways, I'm going to card up to basically where I shrunk. And now see this little like swoopy-doo here? Pick this up, lock that back down, and now we have all this film in here. Everything's kind of level. And we can just 45-degree, just keep working it back. I'm just watching the film get closer to the glass. And anywhere that it's tightening up sideways, I'm not going to shrink that anymore. That's telling me that it's already shrunk. Anywhere that's all bunched up, that needs to be shrunk. So if I were to take my card and I want to reorganize and smooth this back down, I'm going to do this up to where I shrunk, because if I go farther, I start seeing these little spiky points. So again, keep this fixed down to the glass, shrink it, press some of it down. It's all about keeping it locked down and shrinking everything in the center. Don't let it pull from the sides. I would show you what would happen if it pulled from the sides. It's going to completely mess up this entire area. And there's essentially no way to recover from it. That probably also throws people off too. Because once you start to mess up your shrink, it's very hard to fix it. And then there you go. So same thing up here. This is flat. Just keep an eye on this edge. Watch like nothing else but the edge. You see how it's always laying down? It's always flat. If I ever go to like press some of this air out, smooth these like waves out, it's still locked down. So that's going to keep everything nice and organized. So I shrink up to about here, and I don't put the heat really past that because this is also tacked down. And then you start smoothing these waves out, and they kind of go out in like a ripple pattern here. So like this wave here, it starts to press the film out this way, right? And then because it swooped out this way, this now lays a little lower to the glass. And then you can move up, and it's less intimidating on one of those corners. So back over to this side, tack that edge down, and then just start shrinking, and then just watch it. We're not shrinking over that side edge, but I will at some point, like depending on how things look, it's nice to just be able to shrink some of it, like this right here. This is a little hard thing to notice. This finger is kind of going this way. I can readjust it sideways. I'm going to try and make it a little bit smaller by literally lifting up the whole edge, smooth that edge back down, and then it kind of relaxes the film here. So I can shrink over the edge just as long as it's pointed up and down. Perfect. So usually what you see me do is this. I put enough heat to get it to shrink, and then I immediately smooth it back down just so I can keep going fast. So this, you want to make sure that's all directed up that way. Ooh, here's a good example. So I shrunk like the first 4 or 5 inches of the film. This is kind of a bigger finger up here. We're gonna smooth this part out, and then this starts to then basically adjust this line. So that finger made everything bunch up here, but I shrunk this part, and then there's almost like this little swoop here. And you can pick this up, press this material back down, and it starts to readjust this finger a little bit. Makes it a little bit smaller. It's how you can really tackle difficult corners. Shrink it a little bit, pick it back up, smooth down that edge, shrink it a little bit more. This is actually one of the students brought in a it wasn't a WRX. What was it? It was a Subaru. It was a 4-door Subaru car. I don't think it was a WRX though. Legacy? I think it was Legacy. It was a little bit older. The windshield didn't look that curved, but the top corners were very curved. And he was having a hard time with it. Rightly so. But literally just shrinking a little bit up in that corner at a time, and then picking it up, readjusting it, and then keep going. Impreza. Maybe? Might have been an Impreza. No, that's the WRX, right? WRX Impreza? Or are those two different things? think it was a Legacy. Tried shrinking a Crown Vic yesterday. Crown Vic is definitely bubbly. Yeah, that's a harder one to do. It's a short back window, but it's very rounded. So a lot more needs to be shrunk around a tighter curve. Yeah, this wasn't a hatchback. Anyways, the car doesn't matter as much. Yeah. Okay. WRX is like the trim level of the Impreza. There's too many things to keep up with. It was a Legacy then. Okay. We got it. We figured it out. It doesn't matter. But thank you. But it was a relatively flat-looking windshield, but it was surprisingly curved. Surprisingly curved in the top corners. There's my line. Yeah, anything darker than 20 for me is hard to see. So I always keep a light handy. I shine it through the film, angle it so I try and minimize like the glare from the LED lights, and then it'll brighten up that line. 5 is hard to see through. I need one of those LED lights like that. Yeah, they're if you got a Harbor Freight or Menards, they have them usually in stock there. Or good old Amazon. Okay, so once we cut the film, I then go back real close with a heat gun and just double check my edges. That way, I'm sure that the film is not going to pop up a little finger on the inside in a really annoying spot. Because inevitably, it pops up right behind a brake light, which is the worst spot for it to pop up. Brake light on this one's at the top, though. So that's annoying in another way. So there we go. Now that it is all flat, it'll be fine. It'll go on the inside, and it will stay there. As long as it turns out clean. If it's dirty, we'll rip it off and throw it away, and it'll never be on the car again. Okay, so we got some headrests. We need a towel. Oh, I moved this thing over here this morning. I don't know why it hasn't been here before, but I think I like it there. Keep things close. I need to remember that. I set things everywhere, and then it all gets lost. Lay the seats down. Put the seats down! No. No. I don't want to put the seats down. I want to be able to sit somewhere. Okay, so we got a third brake light. This is very much like the Kia K5. I think it's harder to remove, though, so I don't do it. like on the K5, you pull this down, like there's push pins, and you can pull the K5 headliner down. There's probably bolts on the other side of this, but I don't know. I never took the time to look. K5's different. So I leave the brake light where it's at. But if you can loosen up a couple of bolts, do that because it'll make your life easier. Alright. I gotta grab a couple of tools too. Really slim back there? It's not too bad. Most annoying part is honestly that brake light. So I do have to clean underneath it. Why do you tape? Oh, I noticed you tape all the side windows. Why do you tape on the bottom? That has to do with the carpet shield. So what sticks really well to the door panels is that house wrap tape that I use. The carpet shield is kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes it does, and there's plenty of times when it doesn't. So I put like a little line of tape here, and then I stick the carpet shield to that. It's not the most it's probably not the cheapest way to do it, but it is efficient. And people don't give me any better solutions. So keep doing it. All right, we're gonna squeegee this out. Squeegee, squeegee, squeegee. Down as far as I can get, and then I'll take the side swipe. You know, speaking of conquistador, oh yeah, it's right here. So, ooh, let me grab one of those. This is good. I feel like telling this little story here. So this is the most ergonomic way to squeegee out the bottom, but it doesn't have the blade. So this is the stroke doctor. It doesn't flex quite as much as this blade here. This is a side swipe, but I worked with the guy that I originally learned how to tint from. He would hold this, in my opinion, like a ninja. And this was the most uncomfortable thing, and I never got used to doing it. So he would squeegee the whole bottom of the window with a Conqueror. He'd hold it like this, and he would do this. That way your hand is nice and flat, you're holding it, and I don't get it. I still don't get it. He's magical. I got lucky. He was a really good trainer. He learned with somebody for like 2 weeks and then had to figure out a lot of what he knew on his own. And then I think he got like a big boy job instead. But he would tint. He'd tint very well. He could do quite a few cars in a day. Hang on, I forgot. I should really do this too. I should wipe this off. All right, one more time. Make sure I get this nice and squeegee. Maybe I should use a bulldozer. Oh yeah, that's the ticket. Right there. That's better. Squeegee. See, to me, I can't squeegee out that brake light area enough. So I'm real paranoid. Just because I always like to leave everything, like, I always like to see it dry. I don't ever like to see little, like, pools of water in an area that I just squeegeed. Just because it's like, oh, there's probably a collected amount of little bits of dirt there. So I'll do it multiple times just to be sure. All right. Spray that down. I'm gonna pick it up. There we go. Oh, I should have leaned those seats forward. I don't want to give myself any extra room, huh? Squeeze myself in between these things. You know, there's this one time I was like this, and I fell backwards, and I wedged myself between the front two seats, and I was literally like stuck. I was like, oh no! All right, so we're gonna coast this in as far down as we can. Now, I can't just lift this. I have to tuck this under the brake light. I can't just lift it up there, which sucks, because it'd be way easier with every other back window, because you can just put it up at the top. This is why I always remove, well, one of a few reasons why I always remove Audi and BMW lights. So I'll tuck this all the way down, sometimes go a little bit farther. And then, and then I'll basically pull sideways from the edges, then I'll put this film here right on underneath the brake light, make sure it's flat, and then I start sliding this up here. So almost like reverse back window this thing. You just keep sliding it up, goes under that brake light. There you go. And now I just want to be careful about how I press this air out, because I don't want it to bunch up into any one particular spot. But you can get all this air back out. And now you're below the brake light, and you didn't have to take it out. Make sure you're tucked up there, and start squeegeeing away. I had to do a lot of Impalas. Like a lot of Impalas. Whenever it was a Malibu, I was very happy. Malibus are easier. Impalas are like, ugh. Phone should ring any minute. Yeah, right? People have great timing. Squeeze this all down. So what I like about this is that I can get farther down, but really with a back window, there's plenty of small areas that I'll miss. So it's where like flexing a bulldozer really hard or using a side sweep just seems to get out extra air pockets and water. Never want to leave the bottom edge look like it's all pooled up with water. Okay, so that's good. This is kind of a mess now. There's my squeegee. That's what I'm looking for. If I somehow lost it here. Oh my God, who got that? If somebody from the community is calling, then I will lose my mind. Sorry, I'm busy. Who called it? Like, actually, who said that somebody was gonna call? Oh, and it's a local number too. You guys ever have those area codes where you always want to make sure you pick up that area code because it's the, like, so there's stages here. So I was kind of silly. I'm in Detroit area, not in Detroit, but I'm in the Detroit area. So like the area code for Detroit is 313. 248 is nicer, and 586 is kind of in between. So whenever I get a 313 phone call, likelihood's pretty low that it's actually somebody that's gonna book. 586, it's 248, usually pretty good. Not always, but usually much better. Every time I get a Michigan number, I do. What's that? Water only compressed by air? What? I don't understand. I don't understand the question. Cool, so that's good. Now we need to scrub a dub. Oh yeah, this is the scrub it. See, I put the pads everywhere because I'll use the pads without the paddle. But I very much appreciate, like I thought this was one of the silliest things that Tri-Edge came out with that I absolutely love it. I thought it was like, why do I need a hard plastic and hand thing for a scrub pad? No, it's better. You can just press harder and more evenly. It's not necessary, but it's a quality of life thing. This is my towel with a hole in it. Is that K? Is that K24? Splivident. Oh, dude, I know it. That's the most exciting thing. I've just been sitting waiting. I swing by the subreddit literally multiple times every day, and it's just been boring for like a year. Every once in a while, there's something exciting. I think shit's gonna hit the fan real soon. I mean, it has to, right? I still think it's probably gonna go on longer than anybody wants it to, but it's happening. There's stuff that's finally happening. It's getting close. That is K24. You're like the only person that ever brings up GME. I just quit talking about it for a long time. I'm not really even going to say a lot on it. It's just, yeah, it's getting spicy again. Dry shrink prep. Just spray and wipe. Yep. Yeah, I like how quick dry shrink prep. This is something I really didn't think about. I like how quickly dry shrink prep dries out. So it's faster. I can line it, dry shrink prep, boom, and then I just start tinting with it. I did notice though, when I was handing it off to students, with the dryer sheet, you can't really mess it up. Just get better quality dryer sheets, and you can put as much on it as you want. With dry shrink prep, sometimes too much is too much, and your film will stick a lot harder. So it'll take some getting used to. But for when I would set up windows for people, I just grab dry shrink prep, set it up really fast. When I handed something to a student, sometimes I would just use dryer sheets, because that way you know you're just taking out variables for screwing up. But yeah, for the longest time, I was putting too much. I didn't realize it. So sometimes it'd be totally fine. Sometimes it would stick way too much. So now it's been very, very consistent. When I used the bounce sheet for my windshield, I went twice. My third try seemed to shrink better. Interesting. So I don't think you can put too much, but you don't need to completely soak it down with it either. It's just if you go that route, like you just spray the windshield and then you apply it, you should be fine either way. But having a little less, having a little more, that's one of those, personal preference things. Whatever you're more comfortable with. Just like soap, like how much soap do I need? Well, I always think more soap is a little better than less soap, because as long as I can get it into place. But there's some people that really use a small amount of soap, and they just bump everything into place. So my recommendations, and then you refine it to your own preference. Cool. I'd say this is going reasonably well at this point, huh? We're running into the windshield. I'm gonna jinx myself too. I feel like my windshields have gotten better. My windshields were good. I mean, when I do a windshield and I'm happy with the results, it's really, really good. There was just some consistency problems. And I want to say I've resolved almost all of them. Yep, same here. I'm more of a slidey film installer. I don't get the other way. If you watch Rick install, he would bump film. It would look like it was going to crease, and then he bumps it into place, and then it's fine. I don't know why. That's just... Like, I don't really understand why people like that way versus the other way, but some people do. I've been told that sometimes it's more of an old school thing. You saw the white liner thing? Glass Aid. Yes. Is there much of a difference between the Apex and the Pro Nano? Yes and no. It's like diminishing returns. So if I'm being honest, like one color versus another color, I prefer, I really like the look of Apex. Pro Nano's awesome too. It's got a little bit more of a warmer look, so it's like some small differences there. But it's not a massive difference for heat rejection. You're just then finding something that blocks out, you're getting into like the last little bits of it. So when you're building, or actually so many things, like a computer, right? Are you going to notice the difference between an i5 and an i3? Yes, probably. I just say that as an example. No, the new one. So like the Intel chips versus the new M1 chips. The M1 chips on Mac just spank what they had before. But are you going to notice a substantial difference between M1 and M2? No, not really. Not a substantial difference, but there is a difference between them. It'll block out a little bit more heat. So like with anything, when you go up into that top tier, you start getting into some diminishing returns on your money. But it's really, that film is for those people that just like, yeah, whatever your best is. I want the best. That would qualify as the best. So not enough, I heard it, and for some reason I can't say it back. So not enough difference in the heat rejection to justify the cost difference. For some people, it depends. I'm gonna put it on my heat lamp demo, and then I'm gonna ask people what they think. There's some people that can't justify the difference between Pro Nano or Pro Classic and C2, or Pro Classic and Pro Nano. It depends on how much money you have to spend and how much you value that difference. But yeah, being on Apex is like being at the bleeding edge of it. So it goes from like 0 with Pro Classic to 50% with carbon, so you start to feel a pretty substantial difference between those two. And then you go to Pro Nano, and that blocks out 75 to 85%. And so it's like, wow, I can hardly feel it anymore. And then you go to Apex, and it's just like, oh, is the heat lamp even on? Like, it's so little heat at that point. So the difference between hardly being able to feeling it and even more so. Yeah, for some people it's not going to be worth it. For some other people, oh yeah, all day long. Just depends on how much money you have to throw at it and how much you value it, really. So there's my opinion, and then there's the client's opinion. So I've been really surprised to, like, you get first impressions of vehicles and stuff. Don't judge, just show people everything. Because inevitably one day you'll have some old super beat up car, and then he'll go with a ceramic because, you know, he may not care about the condition of his car necessarily, but he might drive it a lot, and the sun is really annoying him, and he's just like, yep, I just want it to be as comfortable as I can. Cool. I've seen it, and I've done it. And then I have other people who have a brand new high-end car, and they're looking to save every penny that they possibly can. You just show everybody, and they'll choose what they want to choose. I would see that a lot. I used to make that assumption too. Probably like most people. You get somebody with like a really high-end car with all the features in it, and then you're like, oh, hey, you want the ceramic? How much is that? And you quote them, and they're like, whoa. How much is this stuff over here? Oh, that's my entry level. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, just do that. Just because somebody has a high-end car doesn't mean they're looking to spend any money. They might have already spent all their money on the car that they have. Or they just don't care. They just want it to look different. Which is probably why they have a high-end car anyways. How much more do you charge for a Tesla, or you charge the same amount as the other cars? It depends on the Tesla. So on the Model Y, I was charging the same amount. I'm starting to change it a little bit. The front doors on the Model Y versus front doors on, let's say, an F-150, the Model Y is just going to take me a little while longer to do. So most of that is okay, but it's bigger glass, it's more curved, and there's more that can go wrong. So on something like that, I'll charge a little bit more at this point. With the Model 3s, definitely because of the back windows. So if we're doing a full car on a Model 3, I start those at $600 for all the sides and back. On the Model S, it's a pretty straightforward car. So if they're like substantially more of a headache to tint, that's kind of when I start to really adjust my pricing. Other than that, I keep it pretty in line. One job to the next. Like this car, I would start at $290. On like a Tahoe, I would start it at $290 as well. I basically raised my bottom line. I just wanted to get so much I wanted to get a certain amount starting for cars, like the 01 Focus I did yesterday. That was $290. I noticed I would always get dirt specks on the small quarter windows. I fixed it by simply not spraying the inside and just tint. That's a hot tip right there. Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. The only reason I spray the inside and the tint is sometimes, like, especially with these films, they just stick in place as soon as you put them on the glass. So I need like 2 layers of water to smack those into to kind of get it to shift around. On some windows, it's fine though. But that's a really smart thing to do with quarter windows, because you're right. When you spray quarter windows, there's all amounts of dirt up here, and there's stuff that far reaches into the paneling. So when I squeegee these quarter windows off on the inside, I try and squeegee the whole thing, and then I lightly spray from here down, trying not to rinse anything from up in here all the way down. Because, yeah, it will forever rain speckles. But squeegeeing it clean and not spraying the inside and just spraying the film, that's a great way to do it too. You're always looking for areas that dirt can rush into. And it'll be inside all the paneling, that's for sure. Should we even lift these up? I don't think so. I think we'll just leave it like it is. So this has some sort of ADAS system on it. I don't know. There's probably a way to take the mirror out just fine. It's probably just like pop the housing apart. Yep, like that. Cool. Yep. So what I'm going to be really careful about in this instance here is I'm literally going to unplug the mirror, pop that out, and not touch any of this. Normally I wouldn't go that far, but it just felt like it would come apart, and then it just did. So I always like to take the mirrors apart when I can, but definitely don't screw with the cameras. Just get the big obstacle out of the way. This is my biggest obstacle. So we'll pop this guy out. Also, I do little extra things too, like if I'm gonna unplug a mirror with all this stuff around, I've never had an issue with it yet, but I've asked glass shops, and I always stay on the side of caution. I did the rest of the doors. The vehicle is off, so then I pulled the mirror off, I unplugged it, and then I'm just not gonna turn the vehicle on until I plug everything back in. It's probably a paranoid thing. I just don't want it to potentially trip a system, even though nothing's ever happened like that. I try and think like the car would think. So you turn the car back on and it looks for all the systems, and then it's like, oh God, here's the mirror. But right now it's asleep. Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Horstman super chatted $3.
Jeffrey with the 3, thank you. I appreciate ya. Thank you for the super sticker. I struggle at times with those Camry and older Accord quarter windows, tend to get dirt behind it at all times. Dude, I had a Corolla yesterday. It was brand new. I redid the quarter windows like 3 or 4 times in a row. 2 to 3 times on the passenger side and about 4 times on the driver's side on the rear ones. Front ones went in first try. Gasket quarter windows are still annoying to me. Sometimes I can get them on first try. Sometimes the first, second, or third time is what it takes to ensure everything turns out nice and clean, because there really isn't a good way to squeegee those out. I just keep soaking them. I'm just... And then I install it and wait until I get a clean install. What's up, man? I just bought the class. We're gonna learn how to do windshields as well, right? Hell yeah! Joseph, sweet, that's awesome. Looking forward to having you here. Oh yeah, we're going over windshields. Windshields has been like one of the biggest things for some of the guys that come here. If you've been tinting for a little while, like there's a few guys, they've been tinting cars for like 6 months. One of them had been tinting for like a year, but he was getting inquiries for ceramic. He just didn't do windshields yet, and it's like, oh, you're doing ceramic jobs and you don't do windshields yet? Let's change that. You came to the right place. Let's do it. So I walked him through reverse rolling, and now he's doing windshields. It's such a substantial change to like your daily. In this day and age, it's like if you're gonna tint cars, you gotta do windshields. When I first started, their windshields just weren't quite as popular. Every once in a long while, somebody would do a windshield, but I got so used to saying complete. Blah, blah, blah's here for a complete tint, and that meant all the sides and the rear. Well, now, if I say complete, I think to a good amount of people, it still means all the sides and the rear, but I'm always worried that somebody's going to be like, oh, you said complete. That doesn't include the windshield? No. No, it does not. I've been tinting for about a month, and a bunch of my clients want windshields, and I have to send them somewhere else. Dude, you are coming to the right place. I'm excited. Yeah, for anybody that's attending the class, there's like a rough schedule. So the first day, I walk people through hand cutting and doors, and the second day we focus mostly on shrinking and back window / windshield installations, and the third day can be more of a flex day. But every single person that comes to the class, they all have their own priorities unless they're just starting from scratch. Which inevitably every class has somebody that literally, no matter how many times I say it, has never touched film before. Every class, there's somebody that's been brand new, never touched anything. And it's like, you should play around with it a little bit. Before you come to the class, at least. That way, you get your feet wet. You know how you like it. Like, if you like tinting at all. And then you better know what to ask and what you're looking for. But yeah, windshields. Oh yeah, we will go over windshields. What's the other side of that? Oh yeah. The other little bit that I was trying to explain was I just want everybody that attends to get out of it what they came here to get out of it. So I never want people to feel like they went home going like, oh, I wish we did that. Or I really wanted to learn that and we just never went over it. So I always ask people a lot, do you have any questions? Do you have anything else that you want to go over? Especially on the third day, it's like, all right, you had a chance to kind of go over most things. What do you want to focus on? What do you really want to go home? Because at the end of the class, it's like you got to go back to the real world. And you got to, you want it to have counted for something. So what is that thing that you really want to go home with? What can we potentially do to add right to your business? Oh man, windshields is huge. So that'll be great. Okay. So I went through and I cleaned this ahead of time. And now I'm going to prep the outside. I generally just prep the outside because there's not much to it, but I noticed there was just a few areas where there were some stickers and just wanted to make sure it was clean. Now I'm going to go through, I'm going to prep the outside, and then we'll shrink and install. Sometimes I feel like it's all ready to go, and then I'm like, oh shit. Got to make sure it's all set. Where can I get the squeegee with the orange tip at? That's called the hybrid. You can find it at Tint Depot or Sun Distributing. Sun Distributing. Tint Depot. See, and I did that thing again. Oh, I put them over there. So that one's called the hybrid. Oh, somebody asked earlier, I got distracted. Somebody asked a question about the Blue Max. Like, is the Blue Max worth it? I think the Blue Max is like the minimum squeegee blade that you should be using. Like, some people love the Blue Max as their main squeegee, and that's cool. Like, it's a great squeegee, and I was using it for a long time. It's still one of my favorites, too. But you should definitely look into the Blue Max and all the Fusion squeegees. Those are, like, there's not really any other options. Like, I mean, like, lower than that as far as price and stuff goes. Like, you don't want to just get by on an Amazon squeegee. The rubber blade squeegees, they just aren't very good. You'll notice a substantial difference if you at least go to like a Blue Max and up from there. So like there are a few other options besides those. I just wanted to say, like, if you're shopping Amazon for tools, they have some stuff that is actually pretty decent, but there's a lot of American-made tools that just aren't listed in any of those sites. So definitely check out all the tint tool suppliers and see what their options are and go with a Blue Max or higher. Sledgehammer. Well, we don't want to break the glass now, do we? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I hear people like those. Amazon squeegees are completely different for sure, not as good a quality. Yeah, you get these, they'll have like these bright colors. They're just like, I don't know, they say rubber squeegee blades or silicone squeegee blades. But yeah, they're basically like a clear rubber squeegee blade. I want to say that they were here. Oh no, they're in my bucket. They just grab the glass like a ton. Too soft? Yeah, they're softer. But they are, let's see, here's one with a handle. So they're like glossy, you can see a lot of impressions in the bottom, but really the downside is like they will squeegee, but they grab the tint a lot. Like it's a more, like it doesn't feel like it's rubbery. But then when you actually go to use this on tint, it just grabs it a lot. So might seem like, hey, it's blue like the Blue Max. Color don't mean shit. Get one of these. This will do you much, much better than this, even though they're both blue. Completely different. I have Blue Max, Clear Max, and what was that other one? Blue Max Flat Out and Clear, and Clear Max. Yep, those are all good. The Clear Max is a really soft one. I really liked that one for a little bit, but it's just not quite hard enough. I went through all the Fusion ones. Flat Out all the way down. Actually, red line all the way down. Red line, Flat Out. I think the only one that I really didn't try at this point was still the black one. Some people are asking about it. I have it over there. I don't know. I keep forgetting to try it. But I don't really want to just try it on a windshield, so I'll do it on maybe another car at this point. But it's funny. I think some of these companies, they market a handful of their tools wrong. Or at least they make it seem one way because that's their intended use, and they don't realize how much somebody else is going to like it for their use case. The Flat Out was one of those blades that I absolutely loved for auto. I think it's called the Flat Out for flat glass, but this is like, at least that's what I was told in the beginning. Like the Flat Out was like, so I was at Sun Distributing, and so I could pick up and hold each one of these blades, and I was like, oh, what's this one? And they're like, yeah, that's for flat glass. And I'm like, is it? They're like, yeah, it's just a little bit of a harder squeegee. It's like the Orange Crush, just harder. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'll try it. It was my favorite blade for the longest time. Very, very good squeegee blade. My favorite now, though, is the hybrid. That you can't beat the hybrid material. Orange Crush is soft, but good for prep. Not too great for water extraction. Yeah, it's not quite as good. It still works well enough. I just don't like the streaks it starts to leave behind when it starts wearing down. Best film to use when it comes to Tint Depot, their Superior Charcoal and up is pretty good. Yeah, their Superior Charcoal is going to be a lot like Pro Classic. Yeah, the cutout on this one's a little funny. So most manufacturers are pretty sensible, and they just would black out straight up here. I don't know why Chevy decided to give this little clear spot in here. It's a little goofy, but we'll actually blend it pretty well with the 35. So let me finish prepping this. Okay, there it is. There's my baggie. It's usually somewhere after the classes. It's in no man's land. I always lose everything after the classes. But once I recover everything, it's always going to be somewhere right around here. It just might be buried under a towel or whatnot. So you think the fan tip or the cone tip? If I had to pick, I picked the cone tip. But I have the fan tip on one side, the cone tip on the other side. and I can do everything fine with both. It's just a small preference difference. Oh, and with the class, because it's personal preference, like it was one of those things I'm like, I don't know which one to give. So all the kegs come with the fan tips, but I also have the cone tips that I give everybody too. And it's nice too, because if you ever like ruin one of the tip, like if the fan tips is giving you problems, just change it out for the cone tip. It'll last a lot longer. For somebody who's starting to tint, what's the recommended tint from Geo, size and percentage? I would say at least do Pro Classic. The prices between Pro Classic and C2 have gotten reasonably close though. But just starting, like I always suggest starting with what I call a workhorse film. Something that's as user-friendly and as trustworthy as possible. That would be Pro Classic. C2 will probably slide a little bit easier. But when I was going around doing mobile tint jobs, I pretty much only installed Pro Classic. I was just, that's all shops would sell was tint. So I would bring in my most trustworthy tint, which at the time was Pro Classic, or Avery Dennison NR we were using for a while. Just like any solid color stable film that you can just, you know, it just works really fast for you. That's what I would suggest anybody start with. Because why not? All right, we need 35. We're doing 35. That's this right here. Jumping all the way up into like a ceramic for just starting out, like you're gonna learn how annoying it can be to start tinting. And that's where you wanna save some money on just learning how to do it. But when it comes to just like, you know, hey, people just want a tint job, what would you just use that you would consider a tint job? Pro Classic. I just wouldn't put my name on anything I felt like was gonna go bad sooner. What about the size, roll, and percentage? So if you're trying to keep the budget down, go with 50-foot rolls. That's an easy one to do a better quality film, keep the price down initially. You get an inventory. As far as roll sizes, like height, you need at least a 36. So this is actually a 40, but typically I'll have 36-inch rolls. You can split a 36-inch roll in half on a car. When it comes to trucks and SUVs, you need something a little bit taller. So for the sake of inventory, I suggest 24-inch rolls. 36 and 24 is pretty safe. You use the 24-inch rolls on truck windows. You use a 36 on back windows on cars. You can use a 24-inch rolls on these same doors, but you can save a little bit of film if you take that same 36-inch roll, split it in half, and then you're using 18 inches of film on your doors rather than 24. Or you can just buy 20-inch rolls, and that makes it a little easier too. As far as shades, get your main shades. So you're gonna need 20, you're gonna need 5, and you're gonna need 35. I hardly ever sell 50 on the side windows, but I do it a lot more on the windshields. So for most jobs, 20, depending on the area that you're in. People will probably ask for 20 or 5 or 20 and 5. Like this one. This one we're doing 5 on the rear, 20 on the front. And then we're doing 35 on the front windshield. Somebody said do a battery check a while ago. You are probably right. We're gonna get to unrolling that, and then we're gonna run out. I gotta figure out what I'm doing with these outlets again. It's just a mess. Yeah, last stream light ceramic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had quite a few 70% lately. I would go for a long time with only doing 50% on windshields. And then this one, we're doing a 35. So it's always good. It's always good to stay prepared. But as far as the things you need initially, like I would have for sure, you need a 35. You need a 20. You need a 5. And then from there, you know, you make some money, you order some extra rolls, and it starts building on itself. And to be honest, you'd be surprised. I never try and sway people one way or another, but when people are coming in and you're out of one percentage, like let's say you install the 20% the most. Well, what you'll find is that you also recommend 20 the most because that's what most people go with. So then it's kind of this, people just keep doing it because you keep recommending it and then people like it and that becomes your staple shade, right? But there's a lot of time that if you have an example vehicle sitting outside, people will kind of just want to do what's on that car. They're like, that looks really good, let's do that. So it's kind of makes things a little bit easy. So if you run out of a certain shade that you install a lot, then you can, you know, for a day or whatever, like, hey, you know, 35 is a great shade. Okay, yeah, let's go with that. Oh, I think I'm out of coffee. No, I got a little bit. Now I'm out. What's the best place to order 36-inch roll, 20% geotint? What do you happen to know price? Oh yeah, go to my site. Tint stuff. Tint stuff. Oh my God, it doesn't like me today. Tint stuff. There. mytintstuff.com. I need to change that command to like my tint stuff. I need to think of a different name for it. I wanted Tint Stuff, but like, so the original channel name was Tint Stuff. There, we're gonna try and keep this on. How did we do this before? Oh boy. Oh boy, how did I keep this on here? I don't remember. Maybe like this. Oh yeah, I did this. And then like that. And then it stayed in place magically. Okay, there we go. I paid $129 for a 50-inch roll. 50, you mean 60? Oh, 50-foot roll, probably. But yeah, if you're looking to get Geo, you can get it off of my site, or you can order it from Geo directly. It's going to be the same price, and it's going to ship the same way. Yeah, that makes more sense. It was like 50-inch. Duh. Of course, it's 50-foot. How many vehicles... Ooh, that's a good question. How many vehicles can you get out of a 50-foot roll? So, it's been a while, but last I figured all this out, you can get pretty much 8 full cars out of a 36-inch roll and probably still have a little left over. It depends on the size of those cars, like how much you're going to have left over. But you can pretty much do 8 cars out of a 36 by 100-foot roll. That's like this Impala, all the sides, all the back, 36-inch roll. So now take that roll price and divide it by that amount of cars. So 50 feet is half, so you could get 4 full cars out of it. Look at the price of the roll, divide it by that price, and then you have your rough material costs. Which is why I say, when you save half on your film and you charge way less per car, you're just screwing yourself over. Material costs are not really the problem. The real problem is how efficiently can you tint that car. And another little thing, when you nickel and dime your film costs, you're kind of like your own customers too at that point. Where, like, if you're trying to get the best, cheapest film that you can get, you tend to just be one of those places that charge less. And then you attract those types of people. And it's just a continuous cycle. Oh, okay. So I got this I got this windshield 3/4 of the way shrunk. Okay. So we're gonna lay this down. I'm gonna card this sideways. I'm gonna make sure this edge is tacked up this way. So you can see I've got big old fingers in here. So it's a lighter film too with a light towel. A little harder to see on this one versus the back window. So I'm gonna shrink the first bit, card that up, and then I'm just gonna see if this is gonna adjust it all. Pick it up, set it back down. Not much, maybe a little bit, like just the swoop over. There we go. Shrink up a little bit more. Move over. How much are you charging for the job? I have to check the quote, but I'm pretty sure it's $7. I think you are better off thinking of selling the quality of film and its benefits. That's okay. So it's half, maybe more, maybe less. It's part. So you really are trying to sell yourself. That's why the creative is so difficult now. And it's always changing. Well, I guess it's not so difficult now. Because there's a shocking number of people that just don't post much video, that don't have much on outreach. But what you're really trying to do is you're trying to sell you and your quality of work. And then people kind of expect that you're installing a good film. So then when you, and what a good quality film also does is let you talk confidently about what you're installing as well. So if somebody's asking about your film, then you can back it up with a lot of info because you know everything there is to know about it. People are just trusting you that you're going to provide a good product, but you also have ways to show them some clear differences in why you really like it, why you carry what you carry. But a good part of doing good jobs is also selling yourself / your company. So that everything plays a role in that, from like your listing, like your listing on maps, your website, everything kind of ties together, yeah. Because it's cool though. It's better that it's that way. Because then anybody can buy the product and sell the product, and then it just becomes a price war. Price always plays a factor, but it's nice that, you know, quality plays such a big part in it as well, because you can have good work and you can have bad work. And so whoever can tick all those boxes, which you usually can't tick all of them. There's always some compromise somewhere. Then you get when you figure out how to sell yourself in your business, that's when all those jobs start clicking for you. What would you recommend doing tinting somebody's car who has a dash camera mounted to the front windshield, double-sided 3M tape, remove it and give them new tape, or cut around it? Yeah, remove it and give them new tape. So keep a roll of double-sided stick tape around, remove it, and then see, I would take the camera off, see if you can clean it up. If it's not too hard to clean up for them, put a double-sided piece of tape on it and just leave the backing on it. And that way they can let the tint dry, and when it's ready to go, all they have to do is peel the tape and stick it back on there. You just made it really convenient for them. They didn't have to go find new tape or anything. But yeah, you're gonna want to take it off and leave them with something and put it back on there is a nice thing to do. Any of those little like thoughtful things that you can do. You know, because it might seem petty to some people, but you know, it just shows a little bit of care. If you just yank the camera off and you just like throw it in the cup holder, and they're like, oh, I gotta go find some more tape. I guess it's not that big of a deal. For some people, it's not really gonna matter much, but it's one of those little quality of life things. Like, yeah, put some new tape on there and just throw it up there after a couple days. Oh, cool, thanks, man. Yep, that's how I do it. Is a felt card recommended for shrinking both front and back windshields, or you can use a plastic card? Yeah, you can use whatever you want to use. I just prefer a felt card. I used the hard card for the longest time before I knew that these existed. The main reason I use a felt card is because it's a little bit more forgiving. So if I start to, like if there's going to be a crease in the film, it's not as pronounced. Sometimes you can fix it. And if there happens to be like a piece of dirt on the glass, if with a hard card, I'm going to shred the film. With the felt card, it'll skip over it. But you can use a hard card, you can use a glove, you can use whatever you want to use. Ooh, I should do that. Let's do that. What time is it? 1? Yeah, let's do that. I've only ever used a felt card. Yeah, it's a good option. I'm quite a big fan. Oh, it doesn't stick as much to this. Sometimes I get lucky. It sticks okay. But this is like a fabric material, and it's gonna soak up some water, so just was looking for a way to just get that covered. So when they're new, they'll leave some fibers behind, but not anything that's gonna matter. I wish there was a way to show how like trashy of a place that you can tint in that doesn't affect the job. So many people, like, they get frustrated at where they're tinting, and especially when they're new. There's a few things that can be very environmental, but most of your issues are not from the environment that you're in. So yeah, with a felt card, like, there can be some fibers and stuff, but I don't have like lint-free towels, and I wipe off the top edges before I go to tint them. Like, it'll leave little fibers behind. I'm just trusting in everything else that I use to then squeegee them out, and then it's a non-issue. There's always like teeny tiny little pieces of dirt and stuff. It's just your squeegees and your water is going to take care of it. So with the stuff on the back window and whatnot, yeah, you just peel it and install it and you're good to go. I've tinted some very dirty rags. It was funny, there was one stream I had recently. It was when Jack was sanding all the walls and stuff. I'm surprised, I don't think I heard one person mention it, but I was almost certain somebody would say, like, shouldn't he stop sanding while you're tinting that? Well, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna take this off. This isn't sticking. Sometimes carpet shield works. Sometimes you gotta give it to the house wrap tape. It's got a better adhesive. It's just looking to cover all the sides up. Tuck it behind the pillar with a hard card. It's not a bad idea. It's just kind of a tricky spot. It grabs the glass pretty aggressively. It'll stick really well to the glass. It's just not clinging to the paneling very much, so when I install, it's probably gonna start coming loose. Oh, shit. Here we go. Somebody want to find me the best place to cut a lot of strips. I need like a house wrap dispenser. House wrap tape dispenser that spits out like 8-inch strips. That would kind of be awesome. Because doing this is one of the most annoying parts of applying it. But when I have a section of it, it's easy for me to get it in place where I need it to go. So we're just gonna put a couple there, put a couple more here, and let's just go for it. Eep, eep, eep. All right, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that. Oh. I don't know if I've ever taken one of these off. It'll definitely clip back together somewhere, somehow. There, like that. See? Somewhere. Somehow. Aha! See? Now it's covered, but my mirror's out of the way. Perfect! I like that way better. What about a tape dispenser? Yeah, that would probably work pretty well. I should probably look into that. Kind of like I do for the carpet shield. I want it. With the carpet shield, it's one shot go. So I pull the piece off, I walk over to the door, and boom. With the tape, with the tape, I need like a bunch of little strips very quickly, and I want them like really conveniently placed. So I want to figure something out. Okay, so we need a squeegee. Where did the squeegee go? Okay, so we got this guy, we got this guy. Oh yeah, we got this guy. I think this is my other hybrid. Have you ever seen door panels and an armrest melted by the sun? Yes. Really badly made door panels. But a lot of things get sun faded. Oh my god, it's right there. I'm so dumb. A lot of things get sun faded. So you'll see that especially on rear windows, on like rear decks and stuff, where the top of the seats and all the paneling starts to get sun faded. But yeah, I've seen some pretty bad interiors. So this little bit, how do we get that? I hear noises. I also heard a baby crying. I'm assuming I got neighbors moving in. Uh-oh. That's scary. There we go. Just use the little turbo in there. Probably gonna buy a hybrid squeegee. I love when I show people the hybrid squeegee. You know what I get a lot of when people come to the class? Compliments on all the tools. Because what they were currently using was not necessarily everything that I use on stream. And it's all about the little differences. So for any of these situations, like tinting a back window, tinting a door window, I like to use whatever makes doing that task the easiest. So there's lots of different options out there. It's just out of everything that I've tried and the way that I installed, this works the best for me. So there's some little personal preference differences, but the main ones that are really, really nice to hear are like tri-edges and squeegee blades. Also, red dot knife and the blades, like the stainless steel blades, the NT ones. Yep, all those little things, they add up. Because you can get cheaper stainless steel blades now. You can buy Amazon ones for like $5. Oh, God. Oh, God. Did we just paint the walls? Are we going to move now? I got kids screaming next door. Oh, no. It's a Saturday, so I'm assuming there's not going to be kids there. They're probably just visiting and setting up some stuff. I'm going to have to meet some neighbors, though, I think. I'm nervous, though. One thing to not take for granted is, like, you guys see this space here. I've worked in so many auto garages where there's a ton of noise from next door mechanics, whether that be music or yelling and screaming and air tools and this and that and the other thing. It has been like whisper quiet. The only thing that really annoyed me was like crickets. But I'm just, you know, even road traffic, like, just want a quiet space. So hopefully we'll stay that way. But it's a Saturday, so we'll see. You can't move, you just renewed your lease? Not yet. I've got my finger on the trigger. We just painted the walls though, so that would kind of suck, but hey, whatever makes sense. See, he came way early though and was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and then he gave me, like, he sent over the lease pretty quickly. So like I have the option to sign it. But like it's still kind of early. I think I moved in here in October? August. Maybe it's August. Was it August or was it October? I have to look back. When was somebody want to look at the channel? Whatever the first stream was, I got to figure out what month that was in. The first stream from here. I actually streamed the very first car that I ever tinted here. I was like, I got the building on like a Thursday or something, and I was, whatever I need to do to just sweep it out quick, set up a little space, man, I am hitting the ground running. I do not care what the rest of the space looks like. That does not matter. Getting started is what matters. That's so true with so many things. You will learn on the way, and you can fail forward. Just get started. Aren't you doing a long-term lease? Yeah, probably. I've been thinking about it. I don't have any more clear of an answer than what I did when I first talked to him about it. But I'm probably going to do that. So, like, our living situation is very much settled. That's another thing. It's going to be pretty close to home. That was like one of the main reasons I moved into this place too, was like I wanted it to be close to home. 20, 30 minutes away? No, I'm over that. Hi, sir, you're the only one working? Yeah, my new hire has some sort of fighting competition in Ohio, so he's not here. Actually, he doesn't work on Saturdays anyways. And you know what? I gave him Monday off. Well, actually, he came in on Monday. He did all the orders. I gave him the rest of Monday off. And then I was like, how do you feel about Tuesday? Because he was going to have fun Monday, and then he took Tuesday off. But I like him. He finds stuff to do. August 29th. Ooh, oh shit, okay. I thought it was October. Alright, maybe he didn't come super early. The standard 60 days then. All right. Well, I guess I gotta do something pretty soon, because if I moved in August, then they let me move in, and the lease was from September, and they gave me the first month free. Fun fact, with some people, you can negotiate a little bit. So they're like, the space is still a little messy, but if you want to just move in it and clean it up, like you can have it now, or you can wait a few days. And I'm like, bro, I will clean the shit out of it. I don't care. But I did ask about a garage door opener when I moved in here. And they're like, well, instead of getting somebody to install a garage door opener, it's easier for us to just give you a month for free. So when you move in, we'll just give you the month and you can use that money towards doing a garage door opener. And you know what I did? I never installed a garage door opener. So I still manually open the garage door. It sounds good. No, it's funny you bring that up. I remembered it at the same time you did. I still don't have a door opener on it. You know, that would be actually really nice to have at this point. Because it's another way of like getting into the garage without having to necessarily have a key. I guess that makes it more unsecure, right? But there was a couple times I would be at home. I'd get ready in the morning, and then I'd get a phone call. And they're like, hey, we're here to drop off the car. And I was like, I'm not there yet. Oh. I thought you opened at 9. No, I'm 10. There we go. Oh, shit. Hang on. Don't want to... Okay, cool. We got it. We got it. Thought that towel was going to be a problem. Nope. No problem here. Early August. Mid-August, late August. So August for sure. Alright, so that means August. Sign the lease in July. Alright, I guess I gotta sign that soon. Ah! It's quiet now next door. I'm gonna have to awkwardly introduce myself. I actually don't know really my other neighbors here. The room next door. Oh, yeah, that one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was always there. It was just terrible. There was plenty of times on stream, I would literally, like, if nobody was up front, I would just sometimes turn the lights off and then just keep that room dark. It was ugly. It had, like, old greenish walls. They repainted that door, but they didn't mask anything off, so it was just like white overspray. There was marks all over the walls from like other things that had been hanging there. It had dirty brown carpet. Yeah, it had a lot of issues. So it went on that way for like a year. So it was. Look, I very much appreciate having a nice looking space, but what people saw was this channel. And so they would see generally pictures of the back, and then when they walk in the showroom, okay, it doesn't look so good, but you at least know the quality of work is going to be pretty good. You're just a little sketched out in the beginning. But at that point, you're already here. So, are you gonna set up a tint appointment? You're gonna come here and then walk back out the door because the walls aren't so clean? Probably not. But that being said, I'm not stupid to it. I knew I had to do something about it. So then the right time came around, and then things were slower. And I did a car. I was hanging around for a little bit, and I was like, you know what? Today's the day. One sec. Today's the day. And then we started revamping everything. Just realized this big pegboard. It is pegboard, but it's a fancy pegboard. It's called gondola shelving. So it's the same stuff that you see in grocery stores. So it's like really sturdy. It's actually really expensive stuff, but I got it compliments of Sun Distributing. All right, let me clean this off. I'm gonna check this over, and I got my guy out there. He is waiting on the Veloster that I did a couple days ago. But yeah, you can rearrange everything. I always wondered if I should put a wall up, or if I should just leave it straight open. But that was kind of a nice way to like display a lot of tools and stuff. This shit was a pain to set up though. For one person. This shit's heavy. I was gonna move it. I was gonna move it for the classes, but it's heavy. It needs wheels or something if I'm gonna move it. All right. Just go over it really quick. That was a fun sound. Dang. Oh, it's right there. I know there was one little spot. Dang, would you look at that? We're like 90%, 99% done here. It's just little touch-ups and stuff. Sweet. And all the dots are laminated in the windshield. So again, that top area now blends in really, really well. This looks good. I like it a lot. Woo. Okay, Canon. Canon! Why is it not work? My sound commands are weird. Okay, I gotta cash somebody out, and then I'll be right back, and then we'll finish this one up. But it's pretty done. You see this yellow? That's fun. God, I need a haircut. This thing flip-flops all over the place. Some of those are rated for hundreds of pounds. Yeah, that's sturdy shit. Get some of those skids that are rated for heavy pieces. I'll have to look into that. I got a few years ago from Target that closed. Nice. That's when you get it. All right, hang on. Hey, man. Did you check it out? Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, it turned out really, really nice. That carbon film on there, you're gonna like that a lot. Yeah, that looks really cool. He's actually going with the exact same look too. So we did 5 on the back, 20 on the front doors, 35 on the windshield. Okay. I know we did a few different shades on the back glass for you, but basically same look.
Do most people go with 35 on the windshield?
Most people go for 50.
Yeah.
They stay a little bit lighter, but it's my second most popular choice there.
I'm not. Obviously, I would never go darker. I like the 35. I don't think it's going to be a big deal at all.
No.
I was scared 50 was going to be too light, so I'm glad I went with 35.
What was the name again?
Nick. Nicholas.
Gilbert?
No. Buchanan. I want to try.
Maybe. Is it Nicholas? deposit. It's going to come right off the top. Alrighty. Paying with the card?
Yes.
Five, 10. Perfect. So have you had window tint before?
No, I have not.
No? Okay. So there'll just be some easy care instructions. At this point, you can roll them down immediately though.
Okay.
So you don't have
Yeah,
to
'cause
wait
it's
any
sitting
time
dry.
because it's just been sitting drying.
That's
Um,
useful.
Yep, that was actually really convenient then. So I won't write a date on here, but this has some care information on it,
Okay,
just kind of what to expect. So
Yep.
the main parts are done, it should be all dry. You may see a small water pocket or two. Anything up past a week, but it should basically be completely dry at this
Yep.
point. You might just see something in there.
Okay.
And the other thing is ammonia-free glass cleaner, so you can use
I'll
any.
take a picture of that.
Yeah, sure. So you can use any brand that you like,
Okay.
including Windex. Just make sure it says ammonia-free or tint safe on the bottle. So this is a really good one though.
Awesome.
This is a spray way. And here's your key back. So that's it.
Awesome.
Any questions for me?
Nope, I don't think so.
No? All right. Well, thank you for bringing it in.
Yeah. Hey, I'll suggest you guys if any of my friends ever need tint. So.
Sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. You enjoy it.
Thank you.
What's up? Oh, we gotta put this thing back on. So we're gonna do final touch up on this one. Make sure the windshield is all set. But that was a Veloster that I had dropped off on Wednesday. Business. Yes, businessman. Is 50% even worth it? Yes, 50% is awesome.
Coming to full age in Christ, super chatted $5. Thanks, Matt.
Christ.
I can tint now because of you. I'm indebted to you. I learned a valuable trade.
Thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate that. Dude, glad to hear it. No, it's all good. I'm glad that you learned something from this channel. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for the 5. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna look around here for anything that I need to touch up. There's that thing that we touched up a little bit earlier. This is all looking good. So little extra things like making sure everything's all wiped down. So once I do these touch-ups, everything will be all wiped down too. Yeah, like one here, little guy, and up here too. Do you have people that ask for their cars not to be streamed? Maybe once or twice. I've had more people say that they're like, I'm sorry, I should have cleaned this up better, especially if you're gonna stream it. They're like, that's been kind of a cool thing. Been like, I want to make sure that it looks nice for on stream, or he doesn't have to deal with a bunch of crap when he tints it. But either way, it's really not a big deal. But there's one thing I really like about tinting. is that like it's all in the back. There's not lots of customers and people around. It's all just the car getting done. Where if I was in like a different trade, yeah, there might be a lot of people that are hesitant to go on camera or something. I think you have a nice setup. It's definitely evolved. Thank you. Yeah, slowly but surely. It's been fun. I go back a little bit and see like how it used to look, and it's come a long way. Still looking for things that make it look better. But as far as it's set up right now, what I'd really like to do is clean up this whole area. I don't know what to do yet, but I want to take down the film racks and just make it look cleaner, but I don't really know what that means yet. I'm going to basically start looking at a lot of other setups, and I'll take some inspiration and just kind of see what can you do with walls that isn't going to be like uber expenses that'll just really change it. I think one thing that would help out a lot is like tool cabinets and stuff like that along a wall. It can be a little pricey to do, and I don't really need them. It's more of a superficial thing. Or like cool tool benches and stuff. That would be fun. We will. Little spam bot on my Twitch stream advertising viewers. We supply you with viewers. What a joke. Thought you had some other lighting? No, it's up there. So there's all these circle lights that we put up there, and then I put this LED like ring around here, and then I've got the lights right above here. But with the white walls, it's gonna fill out this space a lot more. It reflects more light right in here. It looks brighter and cleaner. I like it. I just gotta, now it's like a blank wall, so I gotta do something to dress it up. It's like halfway there. Looks really clean. But I want all this to just kind of make sense. So one of the reasons I liked the boxes that way was that it was a nice way to kind of display the boxes, at the same time make it convenient for storage, and just like the films that I need to use for the job, they're all right here. But I don't know. I'll keep my eye out for some stuff. Maybe a big glass board wall or something like that. Put some wrap on your walls. Yeah, like maybe a Detroit Tint Studio, like just the name like in big letters and stuff. I could do that. That'd be fun. I actually got vinyl to do it too. Just haven't done anything yet with it. Like the way you have the film and the lighting around it. Yeah, that was fun to do. Just the RGB strips. It was a way to do, like, because you see the colors in the logo. It's very much like a RGB type of thing. It's got that like neon modern vibe to it. So that's one reason I really like doing like some just LED lighting around the boxes. I thought it was fun to do. have somebody come to your shop and do a graffiti style painting. I thought of that too. I think that might be really cool on that back wall or something. The only thing that I'm a little hesitant on is whenever you do different colors on your walls, it starts to darken up your space. So I think that wall back there would have to be the accent wall. But it's a big wall, man. They're like 17 foot, no, 18 foot tall ceilings. They're tall. Oh my God. There's like one little water pocket here. I want to just get that little guy. So Tint was actually asked me, and so did GeoShield. They were like, "Can you give us some dimensions, and then it would be fun to like do like a vinyl wall or something?" And I was like, "Maybe." It's a really nice thing to do. I was never quite sure on if I actually want to do it. Lighting really makes a difference. So, yeah, see how this is right now? I got a good halfway through this without flopping over. And then we're gonna keep that. Oh my God. And then it like makes half my hair go the other way. Good stuff. I'll just part it in the middle from now on. Well, okay, so yeah, it would be a good idea and no at the same time. So that whole big 18 foot tall wall, that takes up this little corner. It takes up like less than a quarter of the entire screen here. It's just here. It's kind of a lot. So I don't know. Your forehead looks better. Yeah, it doesn't have like the grill marks in it right now. But it's not itchy. I guess the rubber things just start to make my forehead itchy. I don't know. It wasn't a problem in the very beginning, but then it started to get really irritated, especially with like the hot weather. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep a little swatch around and then Velcro it there or something like that and just replace it from time to time. That helped out a bunch. What mile are you located on? I'm by 18 Mile. So 18 and Mound, there's a little side street, so it's a little back from Mound Road towards 17 Mile. It's called Gatewood. L-shaped building, drive around the back corner. You'll see our sign on the door. It's pretty low-key. Hat sweatbands. Yeah, I'll copy that. I'm gonna see what pops up there. I don't want anything crazy. I just need like a small swatch there. So yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, those are pretty compact. That might be. Yeah, something like that might work. Cool. Thank you. Is the back of the shop climate controlled? No, unfortunately. So I turn on the air conditioning up front, and then I'll leave. Sometimes I'll leave the door open, and it helps. I don't have the doors open and closed a lot during the day, so just a couple of times, for whatever appointments that are coming in. And then temperature stays reasonable. It gets a little toasty, but, that's with very hot days outside. So it's pretty good. Hire me. Why? I just hired somebody, though. I can't. How tall is the overhead door? Like 17 feet, I think. It'll fit a semi in here. The cab, anyways. Like, I've had semi trucks pull up to like where the overhang is. So that's been good. I let them pull that in, though. I ain't going to do that. It's pretty snug on the sides, but it's got enough space. I just don't like doing semi-trucks, though, so I'm not looking to invite that business. Whoa, there's quite a few. I didn't feel like it was really that many today. Time went quick today. Alrighty, so we're going to shout out some supers. Jeffrey. Oh, wait. No, Christ. I'll call you Dan. Tan. Jeffrey. Anywhere Audio. LKB. Joe. Dan. Brandon. Spencer. Chano. RGB. And Daniel. Thank you guys so much for all the support today. I really appreciate it. He's been asking for a job for the past 20 minutes. Oh, I've literally missed all of it. We know he's Filipino, lives in Saudi Arabia, does PPF and detailing. Dang. You know what the super hard problem is with hiring anybody from overseas is literally work visas. I've talked to people that actually deal with that, and it's kind of a lottery system. So you can manage to get a work visa, but then renewing it, sometimes you get a renewal and sometimes you don't. It just depends on, like, they only allow so many people. It kind of sucks. So yeah, I can't hire anybody from overseas. Also, it's like a huge risk on my part. I do the same work. I also PPF, partial installer, Nano. Shoot video, man. Do a channel. Do what I do. I actually couldn't pay you well enough to be here. You'd learn that pretty quick. I don't pull in that much work. I'm the installer for everything. So, like, I hired somebody to help with everything else so I could focus on more work. Maybe created a smaller space to make it easier to cool your space. No, it's not that big of a problem. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it look nice. It used to be Versatility. The name had to go. I'm one of the mods in your group. Oh! Oh, I actually didn't know that. What's up, man? You actually had time to be here today. Look at that. Yeah, it's not crazy hot in here. I've worked at plenty of shops that don't have air conditioning that leaks into the back. And one of the things is they leave the door open all day long. So when it's 90 something outside, it's like 100 plus in the garage. It is toasty. But yeah, it's not that bad here. It'll be like uncomfortably warm, but it's never like ridiculously hot. And we had a 100-degree day during the class, and I just left the air conditioning on overnight, and so it kept the space like pretty cool throughout the entire day. It was nice. So if I really want to keep it cold, I'm just going to waste a lot of electricity. I work for 4 years. I don't know what that means. If you stayed in the shop, you could do a small mini split system in the back or something if it's insulated back there. I think it's pretty well insulated, except the garage door is not. I'd have to insulate the garage door too. I've heard that a lot. There's some people asking in the group. I don't know. The main goal, like, yeah, it'll be summer here for a handful of months, and then it will drop back down, and it'll be winter before we know it. Then I'm probably going to have to keep the heat on longer or something. Was this a ceramic? Yeah, this was ceramic. We did ceramic all the way around. So yeah, 35. Every time I go back and forth on this, I really like the look of 35. I think if you want like a nice dark tinted look, this is the way to go. If you want a nice tinted look but you don't want it to stand out as much, 50. 50 looks great. My contract is almost done. That's why I need to find a foot. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I'm not. You're gonna have an easier time in Saudi than you are in the U.S. It's gonna be really hard to get you over here. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's not fun. Then you're probably gonna go back to the Philippines. Then I know how that goes. Alrighty, guys. I gotta take off. I gotta deliver this car. He's waiting up front too. There's a tint conference in September. Are you going? No. I was thinking about it, and I'd like to go. But then we took a trip down to Florida, and a 2-hour flight with my son is enough for us. So it's just really hectic to try and do work travel right now. So yeah, I'm hanging out here. Tint conference right here. Alrighty, guys. You have a good one. How do you feel about mobile? Go back to when I was working on the driver's side doors, and I talk a lot about it. I have a lot of thoughts. Alrighty, guys, you have a good weekend. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you all for the support today. And, yeah, we'll be back early next week then. Have a good one. Bye. Bye.